Hey everybody, welcome to the Water Tower Podcast. This is episode number 15, can't believe it. Here with my co-host, Nick Milan.
Howdy.
I am Jay Yoder, and let's kick this off. Nick, how are you doing?
Doing great.
Please subscribe. How could I ever forget? Please subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. Hit the little bell for the alerts. Leave us comments. Hit us up on Instagram, watertowerpodcast.com always. And yeah, love you bitches.
Don't forget to tell your friends.
And if you don't have friends, go make some. Go to meetups, friend meetups, and make some fake friends, and then tell them about Water Tower Podcast, and we get more subs, and we can make some fucking money off this shit.
Share.
We're in the negatives.
And we're on episode number 15, Jay.
I don't know what that means, sir.
If we were in a Mexican family, we'd be having a quinceañera right now.
Oh, shit. Someone would be getting married or something at a young age. Yeah, you know how white people that say they know Spanish say 15? Oh, it's Diaz y Cinco. That's how you just play it safe. You just go Diaz y and you're good.
You know what, dude? I'm constantly asking my kids how to say Spanish words. Obviously, they don't know a lot of them, but
oh, really?
They just do the traditional, like, add a O at the end of everything.
Dude, I'm like, in San Francisco, I'm like, I grew up in the valley with a bunch of Mexican people. I don't know Spanish. You were in Spanish class with me. Everyone knew Spanish except the white kid, and then we jumped out the window and go ditch class.
Right.
So, like, you guys were like, this is a breeze. But, well, not everybody, I guess. But for me, it was like, fuck, these guys are all ahead of me. It's like being a loser kid with all the smart kids in, like, math, and you're just, like, scared to ask a question.
Well, and Britton hated you, Jay, so.
Oh, yeah, Brent, well, Brent's a great guy. Actually, he has a right to hate me. I stole his stick. But anyways, a lot of people don't know what that is, but sounds sexual. Definitely is not. But yeah, what the fuck were we talking about?
Britton was our Spanish teacher, and he had a special stick that he used. It was almost like, what do you call, like, those special sticks that ninjas have? Like
a samurai? Oh, staff or something.
Like a staff, right. Like, that's what he had.
He would hit you on the head if you were like...
Right, or tap your desk. He would hit your desk.
Dude, for me, that crossed the line, so I had to show him what's up. But, we stole his stick. I don't know. Someone threw it to me, and I took off with it.
Yeah.
And went around outside. Everyone's like, he got the stick. He had the stick his whole teaching career.
Right.
Like, bitch, this ain't India. You can't hit motherfuckers at class. So I think he tapped me on the head once, and just because, I don't know. Well, I probably deserved it, but in my eyes, I was like, fuck, that's my stick now. Mm-hmm. I own that stick. So we took it out. I broke it over my knee, threw half of it up on the roof of the school. The rest of us crowded around. And went, yeah,
good fucking times.
Yeah, good times. And then he found out about it because obviously I'm an idiot and everyone saw. But I had to go get him a new stick.
Yeah, dude, that's right. You know who was excelled in that class? Was like the best student, I think. Jennifer Corneliuson.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Dude, she knows Spanish,
Her Spanish was amazing.
It's better than yours?
Oh, really? Better than mine.
Oh, shit.
Well, dude, because Spanish is like, dude, when you get into like predicates and things like that, and verbs and Spanish verbs and rearrange, like, that's not like the way, I learned Chicano Spanish. I learned,
Simone way.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, dude, I used to date this girl from Mexico. Oh, Mexico, by the way, people can call me out. Me and my brother say Mexico wrong. We say Mexico. I don't know why, because we're fucking rednecks. But I can't promise I'll change that. But I say a lot of words wrong. But yeah, she was from Monterrey. Oh, she's from, it's outside of Mexico City. Cuernavaca.
Okay.
Kind of a nice area, but the cartel or someone took over, so they left because they're like had money. But she would get, Spanish, like Simón way, bicho chupa mi pito, and she would be like, no, that is like ghetto, and that's from the street, and I'm like, that's how everyone talks where I'm from, dude.
Lindsay California, baby.
That's my culture, bro.
Dude, if I went to Mexico right now, I'd get laughed at. I'm sure of it.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's why it's so crazy when people get, like, deported and they're like, oh, you'll fit in down there.
Right.
Good luck, senor. And then they go down there and everyone's like, fuck, who's this foreigner bitch? And take advantage of you. But
totally.
I always say I don't have a first language. I say my second language is English, but I butcher it so much it's my second language. Nice. I don't really have a first language.
That's a good way of putting it.
Yeah, because I suck at English.
Well, dude, it's funny how we have different dialects, right? I mean, if you go somewhere that's not California, they know you're Californian. You say words like hella.
Yeah, and then even in different parts of California, like Bay Area was hella a lot, and I didn't know it was a Bay Area term, but they're like, oh shit, you're from the Bay Area? I'm like, nah, like, I hate hella, by the way. Yeah. Or you know what else I hate from the Bay? And I know I'm gonna get a lot of shit for this from the Bay peeps, but hyphy. I don't know why. The hyphy movement, it was, I like that Compton shit.
Right?
The hip hop, and then the hyphy came in, I was like, oh, this This too
Too
wacky.
wild for me. Yeah.
Wacky.
Yeah, it is. It is super wacky.
Yeah, I need some AKs in my videos.
Right? You need the, what do they call it? The hood dance? What do they call that?
Ghost ride the whip.
The boogie, gangster boogie.
Oh.
Yeah, they're ghost riding the whip in the Bay Area and doing the hyphy dance and kind of throwing themselves all over the place, while in the hood and in SoCal, they're kind of doing this.
Yeah.
Right.
Where'd the Dougie come from? Remember the Dougie?
Oh, yeah. Where did that come from?
I don't know, but I used to hang out with Isaac Martinez and some random dude that like started living with him from Texas, or I don't know. And he was interesting dude, but he'd always do the Dougie every time we're partying with girls and tell him, "Stop it, bro! You're ruining it. You're freaking the girls out. What is that?" And then all of a sudden that song came out and blew up. We're like, "You were onto something."
He got all the bitches.
Yeah, we're hating on you. Yeah.
Where the fuck did that come from? Maybe ATL? I don't know.
China, bro. China.
Yeah, everything comes
I don't
from
know.
China.
Made in China. Yeah, it's cheaper. It's cheaper to make dances out there.
Hey, you know what? Speaking of China, man, shit, they Beijing taking over Hong Kong. It's the national security law. So basically, no more freedom in Hong Kong, which was one of the freest cities over there in that area, right? From what I understand. Do you know anything about that?
Yeah, I've been to Hong Kong and China. I crossed over the border from China to Hong Kong. Two completely different places, two different monetary systems, different money. It's a very sensitive subject. It goes way back. And I don't know. I don't know how much you know, but I went there in 2010, and it was called a city-state, how it was referred to. Some people recognize it as a country. China said, bitches. You know, they do that with Taiwan especially, and with Hong Kong. And Hong Kong's a huge business hub that's been very successful.
Right.
And not that China hasn't, but they don't want to give that up, and people in Hong Kong don't want to give up their freedoms, but they're gone now. Looks like it.
Yeah,
It's
it looks
done.
like they're gone. And you know what? I mean, from just the gist of it, from what I understand, because I've never been, I never really read up on anything about that place, but I do hear things every once in a while, and you hear Hong Kong as this hub for business, and especially businesses like social media and news organizations, New York Times.
Banking.
Banking, right. And now, just reading headlines and reading articles and stuff, it's like, man, people are moving out. And some say it's because of the protests. There's been protests there for the last year, pretty heavy protests, anti-communist protests and things like that. And
well, it wasn't. It was kind of anti-communist, but what the real problem was that, from my understanding, was that China said, "Hey, you're one of our cities," and like, nah, and it's completely different. Even the people have British accents when they speak English over in Hong Kong, because it used to be a British colony,
right?
And so, just completely different place, man. It's crazy. And so you could tell you're in two different countries, in my opinion. But China was saying that, hey, we're passing a law in Hong Kong, because they got to the leader, people think. I forget her name, female. She was one that kind of signed things recently. Okay. But she was like, hey, we're putting in a law where we could extradite you to mainland China if we need to. Mm-hmm. And people are already disappearing. There's about 4 or 5 guys who wrote books that were kind of anti-Chinese, anti-communist, not Chinese, because some people consider themselves Chinese in Hong Kong. But they, anyways, long story short, they disappeared. No one's heard from them. They probably were extradited to mainland China, is what's believed. And so the students fought hard, and they were doing good, man. It was a great protest I was keeping up with, and then COVID hit. Streets were empty. So that was a lot of conspiracy theories, That was not what I was looking for. How do I not know now? I've been pressing that button. That's the only button I press.
That's so funny.
I thought it was that one for sure.
Yeah, you know what? I read the same thing in that Hong Kong had their own judiciary system, and they would be able to, control their own courts and things like that. But China stepped in, or Beijing more like it, and said, no, we're taking over the judiciary system now. Which, for them, I don't know much about it, but man, that's got to be a big blow, because they're even talking about up to life in prison for protesting.
Oh, there's rumors of work camps and stuff like that, but I don't know what's true or not. There's a lot of bullshit that goes out there, but I will say that from what I've seen, there's mass hysteria in Hong Kong. There's people going through their Facebook, social medias. China, I don't know if you're getting to this, but China sent out some stuff to all the social media organizations, because in China, from last I know, you couldn't get Facebook. Certain YouTube videos you couldn't watch. The internet was very controlled. When I went over there, I was like, what the fuck? And had a couple of Chinese friends, hey, let's stay in touch with Facebook. They're like, oh, how about email? We don't have that. But so I believe TikTok was either out of mainland China or Hong Kong, I forget. But they said they're leaving. I haven't kept up if they have. The platform definitely has changed a bit. It seems like it's a little more censored. Yeah, man, it's crazy. People are going through their Facebook accounts and Twitter and trying to delete anything anti-Chinese, the country, anti-mainland, protest. And it's scary because China will go through. I 100% believe they will go through and pick those motherfuckers up, and they don't care how many of them it is.
Oh, I believe it too, man. Yeah, it is a scary thing. And, I mean, China's communist, and, they do their thing the way they do their thing. And it's funny, I was listening to some interviews, and some people, it was interesting because some people from Hong Kong were saying, yeah, I 100% agree with this. And, the protests are bad. And, they're the ones that caused this. We were supposed to wait another 50 years for this to happen. But, these protesters go out in the streets and start rioting and ruining things. And so it's interesting to see that dichotomy of if I were there, I would probably sit on the side of, anti-communism maybe or whatever. But there's people here in the States that even, with the protesters here and, even though I think that what they're doing is for a good cause, some of the stuff they were doing was bad, rioting, burning down buildings and such. And there's people here in the States that, hey, well, shit, yeah, government, come on in, get these fuckers out of here. It's almost that same platform.
Well, we talked about this one of our episodes one of the BLM episodes where we talked about the undercovers coming in and starting fake fires and riots and stuff like that. And I remember you told me, I was like, that's nothing new, dude, because that exactly happened in Hong Kong and it's happened way before that. But it was they caught Chinese policemen dressing a certain way and causing destruction to make some people in China to say it's the same. It's been going. It's not a new blueprint. But I will say this: that up until our next subject, that one good thing about being in America is when you know who the oppressor is when you can't speak out against them. That's how you know the oppressor is. And you can speak out against people, say they're oppressor, but if you're allowed to speak out in the street and march, then it might not be the best, and we should always improve. We just discussed this about governments that should always try to improve. They should never just be like, this is the best one.
Right.
And it's like technology should always move forward and improve. But I know we probably bash America. I like America. I've been around the world. I used to hate America until I traveled. And I was like, oh, okay, things are we're fucking spoiled little brats over here. But it doesn't mean it can't improve. But think about how many Hong Kong people had. It's funny. I saw a picture of Hong Kong people with American flags. They're saying, America, where are you, dude? You're supposed to be free speech. You're supposed to back us up. They had American flags. They want an Americanized system, democracy in Hong Kong, which they kind of already had. Well, you look in Portland with Antifa and Proud Boys fighting and some of the protests, and they have communist flags and are preaching communism. So it's
interesting.
Oh yeah, communism's huge in protests. Marxism. Dr. Odin even talked about Marxism, and it's that's where communism stems from. You know? Even talked about Mao and the Little Red Book. That's China. So although it's been adapted to be more financially, it's an interesting communism, right? It's democracy for the rich guys, but communism for the rest. Well, in China, that's why they're so successful. But I don't know, man. It's crazy, and it seems like America, their protest is being attacked recently with unmarked policemen.
Portland you're talking about.
Yeah, and I think it happens, I want to say it happens somewhere else. Maybe it was just Portland. The video I saw didn't look like Portland, but I'm sure. But it's fucking nutty.
Yeah, it is. Well, it's, speaking of all that freedom of speech and stuff, it is to be in this country, to be able to voice your opinion and not be reprimanded for it. It essentially, I mean, in a grand way, like serving life in prison, Yeah. That's the benefits of living in this country. But yeah, man, Portland, I've been reading about people getting kidnapped and protesters just getting shoved into vans and taken to a facility and kind of photographs and fingerprints and all that good stuff and then released.
And people are saying, who are you?
Right. Unmarked cars.
Silence.
Yeah, silence, exactly.
Unmarked cars, SUVs, basically.
Right.
Weird.
But I would say, there was a warning by the Trump administration. Remember that? Seattle, if you can't handle your city, I'm going to send my guys in. And I think that's what's happening.
It's crazy, though, because I thought, they're just going to bring in the National Guard, kind of like we saw in Sacramento, because the National Guard is pretty dope. They're just like,
yeah, they're chill, man.
Yeah, maybe they're chill because no one's fucking with them because they got machine guns. I don't know, but they seem to try to be a different type of approach than policemen. I don't know if that's just military, because I think a lot of them don't give a fuck. They're just like, just keep the peace, whatever.
Right.
I don't think they're from here. I don't know. So
yeah, probably not.
So
maybe, yeah, I've seen those like pictures and videos of like National Guard buying like elotes, you know, the corn from a little lotero man, and and dancing with protesters and stuff like that. Like that's cool, man.
Yeah, because on a it's a whole nother story. Another we could dive deep into that one day. I find it interesting that because they're not really the police, so they're not going to these neighborhoods and committing these things. But if you're from a different country, you might disagree because they go to your actual country and do the same thing.
Oh, so totally.
It's funny how we choose what to like and bitch about. Oh, dude,
good take, man.
I always think about it when someone's bitching about something. I'm like, but what about this? It's like how I knew I didn't agree with the Iraq war because, we got to get that bad guy out of there. I'm like, oh, what about all the bad guys in Africa?
Or here.
Them? Yeah, here. Well, they're just, I mean, like talking about like bad guys, like chopping people up, raping brides and stuff, like cutting people's noses off, like hardcore shit.
Right.
It's like, oh, okay. Well, we're just going to focus on Saddam because I don't know.
Right. There's no oil in Africa.
I don't know. Although I think China got the most oil out of Iraq. I argue that, and then my cousin educated me on that. Yeah, weird, huh?
Interesting.
But trust me, America got some too.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, you know what? And this is kind of just off topic, but I think I seen the Dakota Access Pipeline got halted.
Yep, did.
That's cool, man.
Yeah, a few weeks ago or something.
Yeah. I think I seen something like that. I didn't read much into it. Just
it's kind of cool. And Lindsay, who we talked to on I don't know what episode 3 or 4 or something, but Lindsay was on our show. She lives in a van going through the Pan Am Highway, stuck in Colombia with the COVID thing going on there. But she was actually at that protest. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I don't know if she was on the front lines, but she was definitely there. I remember watching her social media. Like, oh shit. But
interesting
long fight.
Yeah, long fight. Absolutely.
I kind of forgot about it, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, I mean
I figured corporations won.
Yeah, right?
Yeah,
they usually do. And we'll see. I'm sure it's not the end of it, but hopefully it's at least the beginning of more of that.
Yeah.
Because oil spills are fucked up, man.
Yeah, they're fucked up, and it never equals out with the money and everything. And big oil, man. Big oil is interesting. I don't think oil's the devil, but I think the devil's own the oil. You know? So,
good point, yeah.
That's
interesting. But, getting to a better, more happy topic, Jay. We talk about traveling all the goddamn time on this podcast, and I've visited Mexico, which is
Mexico.
Mexico.
I think I had S and T in there. Mexico.
Mexico.
Yeah.
But you've traveled the world, and it's amazing, man. The people that we've talked to, Benny and Lindsay and Craig and others that have traveled the world and seen other places. We always talk about the opportunities to travel and how you don't have to be rich, you don't have to be savvy in languages and all this to travel. And even more so right now, governments all over the world are offering major discounts on traveling. I mean, if you want to travel during the COVID pandemic, obviously the tourist economy is dying very rapidly. Mm-hmm. So, dude, a bunch of 2-for-1 deals, 65% off. Geneva has these box packages is what they're calling them, which is just like you stay there for 3 or 4 days and you experience all these different things for fucking amazing deals, like 65% off, which is ridiculous, man.
Yeah.
So if there's any time to travel, it's now.
Yeah, I imagine it's going to be some countries, from what I hear, aren't going to allow Americans. Has Europe still got the ban? They had a ban on Americans.
Yeah, well, certain parts. So I know Geneva said they're allowing it.
Okay.
But certain other countries, definitely have a ban. And even Asian countries, have that ban. But Thailand, from what I understand, is allowing Americans to go and travel there.
Which is crazy because, like, Vietnam's right next to Thailand, and Vietnam's had, like, great success with COVID. I don't know if you ever heard that. Like, I think they've had, like, a few cases and, like, no deaths. I think 0 deaths.
Interesting.
Yeah, like, so I don't, I was researching that, but it's
I wouldn't want anybody in my country.
Yeah, I'm like, it's interesting that letting our dumbasses go over there, coughing and, loud Americans, we're going to yell all over the place. So it's food coming out, pizza coming out of our mouth.
You know what's funny, though, Jay, is there's even COVID insurance. So I think it was Thailand or what's that country? Uzbekistan. How do you say that? Uzbekistan.
Something
there you
like
go.
That,
yeah. They have COVID insurance. So if you travel there and you get COVID-19, they're going to cover the expenses. They're going to cover your trip. They're going to cover hospital bills and stuff like that. So it's just like a guarantee. So like, come visit. Don't worry about COVID, because if you do get it, we'll take care of it.
Yeah, and it's interesting though, because I know like my dad's in Vietnam, and like I can't get Panama, and I can't get a flight there he could get a flight out. Like, yeah, later. I'm like, they might not let you back in, bro. But yeah, the airports won't allow me to buy a ticket. I don't know, maybe it's changed in the last few days, but last week I couldn't get it any airports. Wow, it would just, I put it in the system and then it would just like come up for a forward page, like page expired.
Oh, right.
But yeah, so I don't know, but if they're letting you in, hey man, if you know, I've always said you don't have to be rich to travel. I've traveled the cheapest way. You might be in a bunk bed with a bunch of creeps, but hey, that just adds to the story. But
you're in a bunk bed with a bunch of creeps in another country.
Yeah, I was in Rome. Yeah, Rome, because I always stay at hostels and $5 a night. Fuck yeah, that's the only way I could travel at the time. I was, didn't have a lot of money back then, but and then you work if you want, but. Yeah, in Rome, I was at a hostel with all these bunk beds, and you get a little lock and a little locker, but I sleep with my backpack because fuck, people break that shit open all the time. But there's probably like 5 to 7 middle-aged ladies from South America. I forget what exactly country, and there's like all these moms around me and shit, and I was just the only like young dude, and I'm like coming in drunk every night, and and I remember I like would sleep because it would take forever, and they have one bathroom in this big ass room, so I'd have to wait for all these ladies to get out of the bathroom, and I just said,
about 12 hours.
I'm hungover, I'll chill. But I remember I was passed out in my box. I didn't remember. I would like woke up in my boxer briefs, and I waited. It was on the cover, so I waited for them to leave, and then they left, and then I get up in my drunken stupor and thought I was going to the bathroom because the night before was when I got there, so I just went out all night, and then went back, and I opened these French doors. And I walk out of the fucking balcony, fucking with this busy city square of cafes and people saying, I'm like, oh fuck, and I just shut that shit and ran back in. But I remember I was just like, ooh, that'll strain out that hangover real quick.
Oh, that's freaking hilarious.
It was to the right.
Oh, they got a good site. Yeah, interesting. You know what, dude, I was looking actually because when I saw that, actually my wife had told me about the deals in this country. So in America, in the USA, you can get $4,000 tax credit per adult, $500 per children. So if you go on a vacation in the U.S., it has to be at least 50 miles away from where you live. You can get reimbursed for up to $4,000 per adult, which is pretty fucking
50
cool.
50 miles ain't shit.
No, 50 miles. Yeah, right.
We could go to the valley and get just visit family, get a reimbursement,
right? No, absolutely. Yeah, and it is interesting. And it's also retroactive. So they're doing it from January 1st. So if you already took a trip, fuck, you're good. You get that.
Okay, like back pay almost.
Right, right.
Okay.
So that's pretty cool. So my wife told me about that, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. So I want to check out what else is out there. And then I saw the Thailand thing, and dude, this is like infinity pool, like beach house overlooking the ocean. You're on a cliff, the ocean. I mean, just fucking amazing, bro. And it was like a 3-night stay for like $350.
Yeah, man, just fucking do it, dude.
Fucking crazy.
If you can find a flight to fucking Thailand, man, you guys should go because I don't know, just fucking traveling is such a learning experience, and it's not like you're gonna be like this Gandhi when you travel, but and it depends where you go. If you stay on a resort all day, you're not gonna learn much.
Yeah, right.
But that's why I like the hostels, mixing with the people. But also, you'll realize just having conversations with people, it's just everywhere's different. So some countries are gonna invite you into their house, and you're gonna really see how they live. Right. And they'll want you to spend the night maybe and have dinner, or you might wake up in a bathtub full of ice with your liver missing. I don't know. They don't want that liver, let's be honest. But yeah, it's traveling. I've heard people refer. It's opened my eyes to this day to everything. At 24 when I started traveling, and they say that your life's a thin book, and every time you travel adds a page or a chapter.
I like that.
And it does because they were talked about like how people. Oh, we got to go to Iraq. Islam's bad. And I'm like, what about Comey and all these other guys in Africa or other parts of the world, anywhere? And you ignore that. And I think you get that from traveling because you realize when you come to America, there is this media game, two-sided media game, shining spotlights on what they want you to look at. And the best news you could get is from other newspapers in other countries, dude. It's the most accurate. Right. Not always, but, India, I picked up a newspaper like, fuck, I wish our news was like this. Okay. Just basic. There's no angles.
Yeah, when I saw these resorts, because that's what it is. It's mostly resorts that are trying to
which are great too.
Yeah, which is a great experience. But that's what I thought. I remember having a conversation with you in the resort and how it's so different from.
I'm a hater.
Exposing yourself to the country. And I kind of thought of that too. It's like, and I like that too. We went to Mexico, we went to Puerto Vallarta. We were in the neighborhood. We got a Airbnb inside the neighborhood, walking up and down the streets and watching the kids play. There's 20 kids huddled around an old Nintendo system, right? It's amazing, man. It really is. So definitely a different lifestyle than the resort, but shit, man, that infinity pool overlooking the ocean.
It's hard to pass up.
God damn, that looks badass.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if I've ever stayed at a resort. I'm sure I have, but I can't think. I usually hate resorts, but fun fact, if you want to travel cheap and have a little bit of that resort lifestyle and some of those luxuries, you could get a hostel near a resort, walk into the resort about the middle of the day, don't check into, just go around the back, go through the side, do whatever you do, go in there, pop up your computer, probably get free Wi-Fi, could use their pool.
Nice.
There's a few times I've been ran out, but you could sometimes just still do it cheap. There's little tricks. Also another travel trick, if you're in the airport, I don't know, everyone's got unlimited Wi-Fi, but back in the day, it was like, you'll notice the hardcore travelers, they bundle up next to like, I don't know, the airline luxury, suites, or like where business areas where they go through the sliding doors and then they like get coffee and shit. I don't know.
Okay.
It's like the airline program, part of the bigwigs are a part of it. So they have free Wi-Fi there. So if you sit outside the door, you could usually pick up the free Wi-Fi in the airport. So just free Wi-Fi.
Nice.
Little tricks.
Yeah, and you're the one to know them, Jay.
Yeah, I learned them from a lot of people, and I was like, why are these motherfuckers crowded outside this? And then I was like,
well, and then that's exactly what I was thinking, dude. It's so I actually had an interesting question, Jay. First, I'll tell you what I was thinking, and that's, dude, if there's a time to travel, why not go right now when you're getting amazing deals? Because once COVID is over, whatever that means, I'm assuming once we get vaccine and things kind of go back to somewhat normalcy, everybody's gonna want to travel, dude. I mean, everybody's going to get the fuck out. Everybody's dying to get out.
I'm fucking dying.
So you can imagine how crazy busy airlines are going to be, trains are going to be. Prices are going to go way up. Yep, no more deals. But at the same time, it is kind of that exposure risk, and that's definitely a factor. But if you've had COVID, you don't get it again, right?
That's what I've been asking, and I've been getting different answers. So apparently that's not even for sure. But I don't know. I would trust some other media outlets in other countries probably, but me and my girlfriend Gina were going to go to Greece when this thing popped off, and we were probably still in that window where we could still kind of go. We weren't sure if we were going to come back. And I'm glad we didn't, because I don't think we'd been able to make it back. But we I sat down with my girlfriend and I said, I think this COVID thing's bullshit. I'll be honest. I was like, I think this COVID thing's just the media playing it out. I think and I still kind of believe the same. I think it is something serious, but I think the death rate has been exaggerated.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
Remember the ice truck in New York?
Ice truck.
They
yeah.
Full of dead bodies.
Mass burials.
People were like recording, it's still here months later.
Yeah.
It's never left. So I don't know. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not. But obviously now the death rate, it's dropped tremendously to like flu rates.
Well, and we already know doctors and hospitals are lying about, well, not necessarily lying, but again, you get hit by a bus and you die and you get tested for COVID, you're positive it's a COVID death, right? So we definitely know that's going on.
Yeah, but I told Gina this, that being said, because my girlfriend's pretty paranoid. She works with a lot of doctors, and so she's pretty paranoid about it. But I was like, but here's the worst. We should talk about the worst case scenario is that me and you contract COVID over there. And then we go to a Greek hospital because we're in Greece, and it's flooded with COVID patients. And I don't know how their hospital system is in Greece. I don't know. I have no clue, but let's think of the worst. Maybe it's not the best. So then we're next to Greek people who need to get treated. Who do you think they're going to treat?
Yeah.
So that is a scenario we have to face as worst case scenario that might happen when we're over there. Then we can't get a flight back. Then we're quarantined. Then we got to come up with money for a place to stay because we don't have enough money for a week or two. So it could get bad quick. So yeah, it's something to think about. I still think that like, hey, if you get COVID in a country, if they take your temperature at the airport, they might, turn around, go to the hospital, go wherever. So
don't even vacation.
Lindsay's feeling that in Colombia. My dad felt that in Colombia. Colombia's like hardcore about it, but might be trapped in the country for a few months.
Well, and then not to mention when you get back into the States, you have to quarantine again.
Exactly. Yeah.
And you know what? I've read about the test, and then they stick that swab like fucking halfway through your skull, like. God damn, that sounds painful.
Well, that was the original test. So apparently, me and my girlfriend just literally had this conversation downstairs while you were setting up here. Is that because she's going to go get it because she's going to see her grandma.
Okay,
she's paranoid, so
sure.
I think it's a little ridiculous, but why not play it safe? But I was like, there's new ones that just go in the nostril apparently. But I was telling Gina, I go, and you could do the blood one too. But I told Gina, those drive-through ones do the nose one. I heard the new one just go in the nostril, so you don't have to get back. And she's like, yeah, I know, I heard that too. And I said, but they're probably trying to get rid of all those old ones first. So watch out.
Right.
Like, you know, because
you came right on. This is our last one.
I'm trying to get rid of this shit. No one wants it anymore.
You know what? I was talking to a guy yesterday. I went to detail the car yesterday, and I was talking to this guy, and he was talking about he spent his whole life working in a pharmacy. That's what he was, a pharmacist, and he's 20 plus years. He retired in that industry, and he was saying not too long ago that there was a pharmacy. I don't know if it was CVS or I don't know. Maybe you heard of it, but that they were getting a bunch of positive results, and they were like, "How can everybody be positive?" And so they started opening packages and then just shipping them off without sticking it in anybody's nose, and those were coming out positive. And they said they sent 10 of them, brand new packages, not even, and they were all positive.
Yeah, and I think we mentioned once there was some African country, I believe, it's been so long, but they tested it on fruit and animals and it came back positive. And they were American tests, apparently. And that's what I always said since the beginning. And they're like, well, so many people are testing. I'm like, do you think it's possible the government's spying on all of us? Yes. Okay. Do you think it's possible the government created or some company created these tests and 25% of them, no matter what, will say positive? Do you know how that test works? I mean, that might sound crazy and paranoid, but hey, we know
Not
a lot
to me,
of
Jay.
Epstein seemed paranoid, a lot of shit seemed paranoid, and I think more conspiracy theorists are growing by the minute.
Right.
Because it's hard to defend certain things.
It is so fucking hard. I think that's the hardest part of living is nowadays we have too much fucking information. I think we talked about this before too. It's just so fucking hard to decipher what the fuck is real, man.
Yeah, I'm thinking, during the Obama election, I was all about Obama. The first when he first ran in 2008,
I think it was.
Right, and then that makes sense because then 2012 and 2016 Trump came in. So 2008, I was a young college kid, super bleeding liberal, and how college does, and then still learned a lot from there that I still take, but got a little extreme, and I was a little bit of a know-it-all like most college kids are, and then reading books and but only one-sided books, and then arguing with my family and over Obama and and social media arguments and getting out there, and I remember it just caused a lot of friction, showed me I was very ignorant as I got older and look back on my posts and go, Jesus, and then so the second time, didn't vote for Obama for my own personal reasons with some of the stuff he did with your boy Snowden, and then whistleblowers, and then and also continuing the Middle East war. So when Trump ran, I said, you know what? I'm in San Francisco. This is an extreme city on one side. So the other side is getting extreme on social media from what I could tell. I'm just going to step this one out because I need to focus on my own personal happiness, and I'm learning from the past. And oh God, it was great. It was great to sit back and not have an opinion because I didn't research shit. And some people will still say you're guilty and you're the reason you won. I go, yeah, then if she won, I'd be told the same thing about the other side. So fuck you.
Of course.
But it's like I have a right not to vote if I don't want to, and everyone has that right. And you're always going to be wrong whether you vote for this person, that person, or you don't vote. You're not going to win. So don't try to please people. Try to please yourself. Try to do what you think is right. And so. So Trump ran, Hillary ran. I stayed the fuck out of all those arguments, although I got sucked into some of them just naturally how it goes later down the road. But with this election coming up, we're on this podcast talking about these secret subjects, these political subjects, these tense subjects, and it feels like a very American thing to do, and it is, and we're Americans. So, but man, I'm starting. This election's coming closer, and the last week or two, I've been like, fuck, man, maybe I need to take a step back with all this information because I have too many opinions right now,
right?
And the world is fucking weird, and sometimes I feel like I took a ship from Jupiter to Mars or something. Like, I don't know what the fuck's going on anymore. And I thought it couldn't get crazier, and it's getting even crazier. And looks like it's going to continue to get crazy.
It's going to get crazy and crazy until November comes.
No matter who. I think in November, whether Biden wins or Trump wins, it's just going to be.
It's going to be nuts.
Yeah, I don't know.
And Trump, we don't even know who fucking Biden's running mate is, so that can get intense.
Which is super. We don't even know where's Biden.
Where the fuck? Yeah, where the fuck is
They're
this
keeping
guy?
him locked down from
Right.
that. They're still building that robot, bro, and Obama's going to run it.
Yeah, there's a hologram.
I'd rather have that than Biden. I'd rather have a robot that Obama ran than Biden.
Nice.
But just going to that, have you heard about we talked about Dr. Odin, and he talked about the polls, and I hate following polls because the polls were against Trump in 2016.
Right.
Everyone was surprised that day.
Yeah,
Even Republicans were like, oh shit. Maybe not all of them. I know some hardcores, but so I don't trust polls, but I looked into the polls after Dr. Nolan. I said, well, he's obviously knows a lot about politics, so let me see what I don't know. And yeah, 13-point drop in general public of since February 2020 for Republicans. 13. So they were 2 points above Democrats in February for general polling. Which I still don't trust polling, but it dropped 10, so that's 13 or it dropped 11, or I forget, but it's about 12 or 13 total points of a drop since February due to all the stuff going on.
Right.
BLM and COVID. So I believe. So it's one of the biggest drops I think in a long time. So I don't like to listen to polls, but that big drop you got to pay attention to. But I don't know where these polls are coming from either. I didn't do any of that research yet, but it doesn't look good for Trump at this day. Now Trump, he's a debate Michael Jordan,
right? He's a MacGyver son of a bitch.
So when he gets on the stage, maybe it'll change,
right? And what about a third party candidate? What do you think? You think
Kanye West?
Yeah, Kanye.
He's a third party candidate.
Is he?
Yeah,
officially.
I don't know if he could legally do it. Even Trump, Kanye and Trump have been pretty buddy, but. Even Trump said, I don't know legally how he's going to do it.
Yeah, that's
God
interesting.
Bless him.
Oh man, we talked about The Rock. I'd much have The Rock than fucking Kanye's dumbass.
Yeah, which sounds crazy, but Jocko Wilkins and Joe Rogan talked about it a few weeks back or a month ago or back. But yeah, I'd rather have The Rock. I don't know. At this point, it's like I hope the dude's a good dude and hopefully surround himself with some people. But let's be honest, even if a good dude gets in there, you got all the cockroaches that are going to come out and shit.
Fuck yeah.
Like, is lying? So is this lying? We were talking about lying earlier. Is lying something? Say I say something to you that's wrong,
right?
That's factually wrong. But I believe it to be true because this guy who knows it's a lie told me, and I'm a mouthpiece. Is that lying? It's weird, huh?
Yeah, that is weird.
Because
absolutely,
that's what the media does, right?
Yeah.
So
hell yeah, it does.
Let's break this down in my head.
And then alternate facts, right? I mean, that word came out a few years ago. It's like facts can mean different things to different people, right? It's like fuck.
Well,
what is
a fact? I think if. It gets dicey because I have a Japanese flag up here. Just when I go to countries, I pick flags, and I'm just a big fan of minimalism. And it's a big red circle, so I like it. And I like red, but and I do like Japan. But we would both agree that's red.
Yeah.
Okay. I have, being a designer, I've heard arguments over what's red and what's orange. More because they're all bleed of colors, right? And then if a colorblind person walks in here, he's going to argue a different story. And I can't say you're colorblind because maybe I'm color
not blind.
Yeah, color not blind. I don't know, but you know what I mean. So it's like
interesting.
Obviously, we could generalize most things. Like George Floyd. I haven't heard anyone argue that on both sides. So that seems like a factual statement that George Floyd was murdered and didn't deserve to be. There's probably a small percentage of people that disagree because there's always outliers and everything. But it is weird what is fact and what is not.
Oh, totally, man. Yeah.
Who decides?
But going back to what you said, and you didn't say this exactly, but I think that's kind of what you're hinting at was ignorance is bliss sometimes. When you don't surround yourself with all this negative information, negative people, putting yourself in arguments and debates that really fucking go nowhere. Like it just gives you that peace of mind, that tranquility of like, I don't know, but who gives a fuck? And and that's kind of how I like to live my life.
Yeah, I get that. I get that. I tend not to because I do believe ignorance is bliss, but I believe ignorance creates danger situations.
Sure.
The KKK, I believe, is based off a lot of ignorance without a lot of detailed research that goes against what they feel.
Right. Yeah. More internal ignorance, probably.
Yeah. But other hate groups, people getting identified for something they don't believe they are just because they don't fit in someone else's factual world.
Sure.
So I think it's scary sometimes to deal with someone very ignorant who has strong opinions.
Right.
And it could be a dicey, dangerous situation, in my opinion. So ignorance is bliss as long as you shut the fuck up. But if you want to fucking sit here and fucking raise a flag and you're not going to fucking research that flag, then you're a danger that needs to be handled, in my opinion.
No, I totally agree. And ignorance is bliss to a certain point. I mean, you got to educate yourself and know about certain things, and it's good to know about certain things, But when you hear things like, the world is on fire, everybody hates everybody, this and this and that, and you walk outside and talk to your neighbor, and it's like, hey, how you doing? I'm doing great. And then you walk down the street, talk to another, hey, how you doing? I'm doing fucking fantastic. It's like, hey, I thought the world was on fire, you know, and it's really not. All I had to do was walk outside and talk to some people and everything's fine.
Yeah, actually, Bill Hicks, a famous comic from the 80s, actually went down a Bill Hicks a rabbit hole. Bill Hicks, interesting dude. Probably, in my opinion, why Joe Rogan is who he is. I don't know. But Bill Hicks doesn't get a lot of respect, but a guy who took psychedelics back when it was very dangerous to do, and it changed his brain, and he admitted that and ended up dying of cancer, but not caused by psychedelics. Obviously, I know some hardcore anti-drug. You're just psychedelic changed cancer. No, that's not how cancer works, sir. But he, you know, and George Carlin, another legend, and would speak about. You know, would just speak about like how the system is set up and warning, the world's on fire, and this is going on. It was mostly, I think, towards conservative news back then, just because of the situation. I think it could definitely be towards the other side news nowadays because they do the same thing. Both sides do it, but I think the left's on fire and they got most of the control, in my opinion, with social media. But it's like the world's on fire, and he's like, then you go outside, and it's like cricket,
right,
cricket. He's like, come on, dude, if you believe that shit, you're a fucking moron. And also, we think the world's on fire, and you do see people yelling in the street sometimes, and then you travel, and people are like, what's up? Have a beer? Just chill.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right, exactly. And so that, you know, and that's, when I say that's how I like to live my life, you know what, I hate confrontation. You know, I just, even, you know, I have a business coach, and she's like, you know, telling me to be more aggressive, you know, when, you know, I dealt with this lady who was trying to overcharge me, and I ended up just ending the relationship, right? Like, for me, it's like, I don't want to confront her.
For a car or what?
No, it was for some services that she was offering me, online services. So I was trying to produce newsletters and things that I can send out to people. And it was a platform. It's called Infusionsoft. But I didn't know anything about it. So I wanted to pay someone to manage that for me.
Yeah.
And so the lady had told me one price, and then, you know, we let things kind of go as they were. And then she wanted to up the price. And so, you know, it was kind of just misinformation. She told me one thing and then offered me another deal or whatever. So, you know, I tell my coach, and she said, oh, well, you need to tell her, you know, this and this and that. And I had already, you know, had my reservations about her, and I was like, you know what, I'm just going to call it quits on that, you know, relationship, and she can go do her thing, you know, and that's it. She just lost a client, right? And that's usually it for me. Like, that's usually, okay, well, I'm going to stop doing business with her. She goes about her business. I go about my business, and then we're good. But the coach, you know, is, you know, well, no, you got to tell her, because she's also a business owner, and she needs to know if she did something wrong. She needs to know, that way she can improve her organization. And I get that part, but the fact that I don't like confrontation is just like, well, now we're good, because I don't talk to her. She don't talk to me. She obviously knows she lost the client, because now I'm not in communication with her, and we all move forward. So it's, you know, there's good and bads in it, but that's, you know, just, man,
that's how you roll.
Yeah, that's how I roll, man. Exactly. And negativity, I hate it.
When I see both sides of it, because I see that your life will be easier, but also I guess it's how you view the world and your place in the world and what this is all about. Very smart guy told me we're all just gears, and we're here to improve whatever it is. Human civilization, whatever. We're just doing our piece. We go to work every day and try to improve. I don't know if I 100% agree with it, but he's a smart dude, and he kind of sold me a little bit. But it's I don't like to think life is work, I guess, but I don't think he meant it that way. He just meant
sure, right.
But it reminds me, what you just said reminds me of my grandpa told my mom once. You know, got that old school type vibe where you know, dollar was important, and not a lot of it was going around back then. And if you do business with someone, they should be nice to you. They should treat you with respect, and they should take up to their side of the agreement. Now, there's a lot of gray area, I know, that happens there, but for example, my mom got some work on a car down in Lindsay. I forget the place, and they didn't fix it. It broke the next day or whatever, and she already paid the money, and my mom likes to avoid confrontations just like you, and she said, was telling my grandma, she's like, what happened? And my grandpa used to work on cars, and she's like, well, I'm going to take it somewhere else because I can't trust them anymore. And I'm just never going there again because they totally lied to me. And my grandpa says, no, you're taking that car back there and either getting your money back,
right,
or you're going to give them a chance to fix it. Because in business, feedback, they'll teach you in like Fresno State Business School, shout out, but trade school of business. But they, you know, feedback is one of the most important things to a person, whether it's your relationship, whether it's your business, whatever. It's so important to get feedback, because how we interpret the world is not how everyone interprets the world. So you're dealing with all these different people that live in these different realities inside their head, having these internal conversations. And how can someone know that they're messing with your frequency unless you get that feedback? And so it just made me remind me of my grandpa sent her back and she got it fixed, and my mom ended up going back there again, and they apologized, and they didn't know it broke. Like they didn't, and maybe I've had it where one employee's been a shady bastard, but the whole organization gets rid of that guy or whatever. And so I think sometimes feedback's important, but at the end of the day, it's what you feel comfortable with and what you want to do that day.
Yeah, absolutely. And I totally agree with that. And I think that's, it was an interesting dynamic, because I've had that exact situation before too, where, you take a car in and it doesn't happen the way you thought it was going to happen. And you have to take it back, right? Because shit, I want a running car, and I'm not going to go pay another $1,000 to somebody to fix that problem. But totally, man, feedback, especially in a business, I love my feedback. When I get feedback, I mean, fortunately, I feel like I'm a good owner, and I try to do everything I can to please the clients that I do. So Yelp and Google reviews are all 5 stars. I love it. So when I get that feedback, it feels great. But I've had clients where I'll detail a car, and we always do a walk around, right? We always do a walk around afterwards, and they'll say, "Oh man, well, what about that spot?" Oh yeah, well shoot, I must have just overlooked that. My bad. Here, let me fix that.
Yeah, you're human.
Yeah, you're
human error.
Right. Human error, exactly. And like the mechanic for your mother, I mean, who knows, man? They probably didn't know. Hey, there's an accident.
Or that dude could be having a bad day.
Sure.
Like dude could be stressed out. His wife might have just cheated on. Right. Everyone's got a story,
absolutely.
but at the same time, there's just some assholes out there, which I know. Me and Nick went to help these 2 little kids out. Their mom approached Nick, who wants to get Nick's in the car detailing business, owns his own business and runs it. And these 2 kids were starting something, making money, and it was pretty cool. And you went out to teach them, and I recorded it. I was basically cameraman, and
coming out soon.
Yeah, and they you warned them about, like, some people have a fucked up dent or something and try to blame it on you, so they invite you over, hope you don't see it, and you're probably not taking pictures of the car. I don't know if you do. That's a good decision, probably.
It is. I don't do it all the time.
But they were saying, oh, we had a guy that had a messed up seat. He invites us over to wash his car, and then he said we broke the seat. And I was like, no, I was definitely broke when I got in there, because I remember thinking, like, fuck this thing. Or the kids was like, it was messed up. And I saw something on TikTok recently like that, where the guy, he cut trees out of someone's house, and they said, hey, you dented my car. Your employees dented my car. He goes, well, I actually did that job. It wasn't my employees. I'm sorry, that might have happened. Can you send me a picture? And he goes, okay, I'm going to come over there and check it out. So I went and checked. Goes, well, there's definitely a dent in the car. And so he goes to Google Earth or Google Maps and looks up a picture that was taken of their yard, and he zooms in on there's a PT Cruiser, and he goes, you can see the trees are still there. This was probably taken years ago, months ago, I don't know, and there's a dent. And he goes, you can't trust people, man. Like, it's crazy.
They're shiesty, man. And you know what? I've been there, man. I've been there, done that. Red flags, when somebody calls me and says, hey, I want my engine detailed. And I say, well, I do engine detailing, but it's more of a package deal. So if you get the complete interior, exterior detail, then we can add the engine compartment.
You like clean the engine?
Yeah, we clean the engine. I mean, nothing too thorough, just basically cosmetic.
Okay.
But a lot of people will use that, hey, I want my engine detailed, and then you go and just detail the engine, and they say, hey, well, now my engine's leaking oil, it wasn't leaking oil before you got there, and it's those fuckers, man, that are just like, hey, I bet I can get this fucker's insurance to pay for my engine repairs.
Yeah, there's some, with the good comes the bad, and when money's tight, people tend to lose their soul a little bit, and it sucks. There's just some people out there.
Yeah, there is, and you know what? I mean, going back to those kids, that's even more fucked up. To try to pull that on a couple kids.
Well, he's probably basing it off their ignorance.
Right. Oh yeah,
just being
probably
young and dumb, maybe.
Absolutely.
And it's funny. I have a badass 2012 Ford Focus, bro. But that's never clean. But I'm sure Nick judges me every time I walks over. I don't give a fuck. But I'm not into cleaning cars all the time. But
it looks great, Jay.
Yeah, I took better care of my Geo in college.
Nice.
But
Firebird.
So I always had 1980 Firebird car. I rolled in Geo, free cars. My stepdad would do cleaning jobs. I get a free car, break down a month later. I bought a Firebird. It worked 3 months to save up money to go to college with this Firebird. Just to go to COS Junior College out of Lindsay, because 45-minute drive, whatever. And it took more transmission fluid than gasoline. And eventually, obviously, it died.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but and I had to give it away, which is sad because it's a great car. But anyway, so my brother approached me and was like, you need to build credit, man. You're always working your ass off. You're working multiple shitty jobs, and you're fucking going to college, spending all this money on books, going to debt, and you need to fucking build your credit, dude. And I was like, yeah, you're probably right. I just ignore credit cards. I ignore that because you just hear about college kids getting in trouble,
right?
And I just want to avoid that shit. But at the same time, I can't do anything with no credit, and so no one trusts me, right? So he's like, let's try to. I work with the car dealership. I won't say who it was, but this car dealership, because they set right by me at the end of the story. But anyways, they had a checklist that was through Ford. Mm-hmm. Check the batteries, check the wires, check like a huge checklist.
Right.
And they sold this to me. And I went in there and I said, okay, so I spent all this money. I mean, I was broke. I'm scraping I took my change to fucking Save Mart just to make the down payment. Borrowed some money to make the down. It was fucking just to get credit. So
right.
bullshit. And a car I could rely on. So then I drive it up to San Francisco. This is Visalia. I drive it up to San Francisco and the locks.
3.5 hour drive?
About 4 or 5,
okay.
And then the locks aren't working, the windows aren't working. It's kind of going in and out, and I'm like, man, I'm broke right now. I spent literally my last dollar to get this car so I could rely on it. Now I can't rely on it. God damn it, they fooled me. And so I take it into, I go, well, let's take it to the dealership. It's under warranty. And they go, oh, it's your battery's out. Your battery and some of the cords are a little shitty. And I'm like, that's interesting because you guys have a checklist. It was a Ford dealership.
Yeah.
And I said, yeah. And I go, well, yeah, you just go and fix it.
Yeah.
They're like, I'm naive. I never had a new car at the warranty. And they're like, oh, no, we don't cover that. You have to pay out of pocket. It's going to be like so many hundreds of dollars.
Man.
And I'm like, fuck that. I just bought this car last week from you guys. He's like, oh, that's between you and the dealership. That's how they get you, right?
Yeah,
I'm like,
I
thought you guys were all one umbrella. No. So contact the dealership. I'm like, hey, this doesn't work. Jay, we sold you a good car. Click, it was kind of that type. And I'm like, I'm living in a closet at the time. I'm broke. I'm just working my life away and going to school again. And just like I'm sick of getting screwed fucking over by the guy with money that doesn't give a fuck about my situation, doesn't care, but sold me something. And so I said, and I called him again. My brother went in with the phone in his pocket with me on it. I said, make sure that phone's on. And I said, hey, can I talk to your manager? When the manager, the manager likes to stay behind that door. By the way, I'm going on a long rant. Sorry. Anyways, long story short is the manager was being a dick. And then he called me and said, him and my brother had a different conversation. I said, funny, I have it recorded, which is illegal actually in California.
Shit. Okay, yeah.
I didn't have it recorded either. I just listened to it, but I wanted to scare him. And I was like, that conversation went a completely different way. And he's like, your brother came in as a hard ass. I'm like, no, he didn't. He just asked you. And I said, hey, this is on your checklist. He goes, it's not on the checklist. I go, can you pull the checklist out? Because I have my copy right here.
Right.
He's like, oh. And I'm like, it says batteries and battery
Why
wires.
would they do that? Fucking dicks.
I said, it's been serviced. It said right before I bought it. So,
right.
So he said, well, you know what, Jay, we sold you a good car. I don't know what happened on your 5-hour drive.
No, of course.
So
of course.
He basically like, fuck you, basically. So I said, what can I do? Oh, I'm learning Photoshop. So I went on Yelp. Thank God for Yelp. I know Yelp's kind of whatever. Sometimes a bit of a blackmail situation there.
Oh, yeah.
I took that, I made a fake stamp, red stamp across it, and said, invalid, false claims, false advertisement, don't buy a car from this company.
Okay.
And I put it out there. I wrote my story. I said, here's my phone number. Here's this guy's phone number. You get both sides, blah, 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 blah. And so all of a sudden I get a call from the owner who I can never reach.
Of course.
Hey, Jay, so sorry about the situation. We're sending you the battery and everything, the money for it. We're going to reimburse you because I already had to pay for it. Fucking borrowed more money. We're going to reimburse you. Don't even know the interest I had to take. They don't care. And I'm also going to give you a gift certificate card for $50. I said, I don't want that. I just want it to be fair and right, what I paid for and what you guys sold me. And don't worry, I'll take the shit down. Oh, it's up to you if you want to take it down. I'm like,
of course.
I know what you're calling for, but if you make it right, I'll take it down. That's it. And he did, and that's why I'm not mentioning who it was. But it's sad that you have to come to that. And I think he ended up getting fired, that manager. Maybe the owner didn't know this was being ran that way.
Yeah, true. Right.
Wow, that was a long story.
That was a long story, but good point, though.
Edit that.
I'll have fun with that later. But you know what? I think that's a great point in that it could be a fucking shiesty manager. And why would he even do that? It's not his money, right? It's not his business. It's not like he's losing money by trying to screw you over.
I don't know. Who knows?
What a fucking dick.
Yeah.
But you know what? If it were me, I would have probably just left it, because that happened. It happened, and maybe update the ad and say, you know what, I finally got in contact with the manager. He finally seen the Yelp review, and he did fix it. But still, this is not how organizations are supposed to run. Yada yada yada.
I just took it down. Like that's it. That's
yeah,
it. That's what you're getting.
You're a
on
good
me.
guy, Jay.
Yeah. No, it took. Oh, like I thought you meant like I should put like they made right by me. Like no, they were supposed to make right by me at the first deal.
Yeah, right. And they should, you know. And dude, and you know, I think CarMax. We bought a couple cars from CarMax over the years, and they sell that big time. You know, 100-point inspection on all used vehicles and certified used vehicles, and this bullshit and that bullshit. And unfortunately, cars are just fucking not manufactured the way they used to be. I mean, they're so fucking cheap, especially in the detailing industry. You know, back in the day, you buy a car and you would have plenty of clear coat where you can fucking drive it through the wash a million times and never have any problems. And nowadays, you buy a brand new car to the manufacturer, you're lucky if you have 2 layers of clear coat.
Serious?
Yeah, and you open up the door jambs, you look in the jambs, and it doesn't have that shine that the rest of the paint has because they don't clear coat the door jambs anymore. Okay. They're just fucking cheap bastards, man.
Huh. Yeah, I would never know that. I know nothing about that, but that's interesting.
Yeah. I mean, they're just getting cheaper and cheaper.
So not only the mechanics, but also the paint.
Oh, right, and the manufacturers, you know, and it's funny because they're getting cheaper and cheaper, but cars are getting more and more expensive.
Yeah. Yep.
Fucking assholes.
That's how it goes. Well, and I understand every business has its headaches and it's hard. I'm sure car dealerships have a lot going on because who knows what could break. And there probably are those flukes where a guy drives off and then something bad goes.
And lemons are a thing.
Yeah. And I remember I sold my Geo. I sold to a girl. I was trying to help her out in college. Sold it cheap. I was friends with her and ran great. Drove to Fresno every day, Fresno State. And then we're test driving it and it gets caught in a gear. And she's like, you motherfucker. I'm like, dude. And I was like,
what a hard situation.
And then she's like, I'll still buy it if you fix it. And I felt so like put in a bad position, which I was innocent, that I just decided to sell it to someone else because it just felt like I didn't want to look like I was trying to rip her off or anything. So I just got away from her. But freak things happen sometimes. You know?
It does, especially on fucking cars, man.
Yeah,
all kinds of shit.
Especially when people don't know how to drive manuals and then they're test driving manual. I think that's probably what did it. But,
that's probably.
But still, it shouldn't have did it that much. But
interesting.
Yeah, it's always good to get feedback and to clear out the rats out of the business or something. But
and it's funny when you're married, Jay, because my wife will take my car out.
There's nothing funny about marriage.
No, it's completely serious. But a couple times. One time, my wife took my truck to work. And when she got back, she said, "Yeah, smoke's coming out of the engine. I don't know what's going on, And I opened the hood, and there's fucking oil everywhere, all over the grill, all over. And I told her to put oil in, right? And she put oil in, and then I think she just didn't tighten the cap all the way, So when she's driving, it heats up. The cap probably popped off, because the cap was just sitting there. And so automatically I'm like, fuck, god damn you, you're fucking never going to let you use my truck again, and it was manual too. You don't know how to drive manual, and this and this and that. And, this is just me overreacting, just being a dick, but really it's just like, fuck, simple mistake, man. She went to go tighten the thing. It didn't tighten all the way. Shit happens. It fucking happens all the time.
Human error.
It's human error, man.
And it seems like when you borrow something or you do something,
I hate borrowing
it's
shit.
just like this bad juju comes in and fucks shit up. And especially when the guy's like a really strict dude.
Right.
Like he's already hardcore. Like I don't want to borrow shit from people like that because I know like, fuck, he's going to blame me. But, I remember I let my cousin borrow, the same story, let my cousin borrow my car in San Francisco. And he comes back and I was like, how'd the car run? He's like, pretty good. Still had a little bit of that smoke that it usually does. And I'm like, wait, what? Don't try to sell me that, bro. What do you mean it smokes? You know how the engine compartment smokes? I'm like, no. He's like, when we started driving, we noticed the smoking. And I'm like, why didn't you stop? And he's like, I thought it was normal. It was a 20-year-old car, and a beat up 1997 Isuzu or whatever. But it was like, I just like, whatever. It was an old car. I'm not going to blame him for that. I wish he would have stopped. But it was weird how he sold it to me. No, you know how it
You know what you're talking about.
Good salesman. Yeah, shit happens, and fuck. I think you get mad because you're thinking, fuck, money.
Right.
And that's and then you want to blame someone, and and it's just frustrating. And at the end of the day, it's hard to pull yourself out of that emotional state. But yeah, shit happens. Human error.
Right. And it's it's hard to judge that, and especially when we're in crazy times like right now.
Well, do you know about locus of control?
Locus of control?
Yeah.
No, rings a bell.
Some business term I learned years ago, that the one that stuck, I guess. But it's like the way the teacher described it, if I remember correctly, it's like if you're riding a skateboard and you fucking like across campus and you fucking hit a crack and you fall over, like fucking crack, And then if you see someone ride a skateboard and they fucking fall over and you don't see the crack, you're like, what an idiot or dumbass or whatever. And that's called locus of control.
Okay.
It's like
perspective almost.
Yeah, you make a mistake. It's okay because a human error, it's a mistake. With someone else, you're like, fuck you, So something to think about.
Yeah, interesting. And it's outside the box looking inside the box.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, but shit happens.
So we're getting some basketball in, Jay. I know you don't like sports, but I'm pretty fucking excited, man. They have a bubble in Orlando at Disney World, and they created this bubble. NBA bubble is what they're calling it.
Is it a real bubble, like Biodome?
That would be so fucking
at first
wicked.
I said that, I was like, they built a bubble.
Dude, that would be so fucking awesome. But no, it's not a physical bubble, but it's just a campus on the site, and it's open to the public too, which is kind of interesting. But the NBA players have to stay in this bubble, and they can't leave. And so one of the players, Rashawn Holmes, ordered food from a delivery service, and he went to the edge of the bubble to get the food, and they considered that a violation, and so he had a quarantine for I think 8 to 10 days or something like that, which is fucked up because he's probably one of the best players on the team. And so if he doesn't start when they start playing on the 30th and he's not playing, it's going to be a huge fucking hit, But there's also other bubbles that they've been creating. I'm not sure if you've been listening to a lot of this shit soccer's another one. They're already starting to play. We have Sacramento Republic that just played. And, there's certain rules where they can only go certain places and be certain,
Do they let fans in?
I don't know. But I know there's fans there, and I know they're taking temperatures and doing all that shit, when they do that. Fucking crazy.
I was just thinking of a funny TikTok. Sorry, I've been addicted to TikTok. But this girl was like, at work, they started taking our temperature, and if it's too high, we got to go home. So she went out to her car. It was like a sunny day, and she put her forehead on the fucking. She's like, it's 100 degrees outside. I'm getting out of work.
Fuck yeah.
Fucking funny. I can see myself doing that for sure.
Dude, totally.
But it's cool. It's not that I hate sports. I just don't understand sports. I used to be deep into football and basketball.
Yeah, right.
Huge basketball fan when I was a young kid. I like sports. I actually want to get. If sports are on right now, I'm watching it because I'm so bored. But the reason I think I like fighting over sports is because I don't get how people get excited about I don't think do the Niners and Raiders even play. I don't want to see how far detached they don't
Sometimes.
usually play unless they get certain
usually in
distance.
the preseason.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So or was it Raiders Broncos was a big game, right? I know that was when I used to always talk shit to my Denver friends, but it's we get so aggressive and so into this game, double-sided like everything else, and we're so, this game's so important. Right. I'm just always like, they're going to play next year, dude.
Yeah,
the year after. And I get it, people get into the year, but when there's two fighters, they may never fight again. And that, I don't know why, that always just spoke to me that this is an opportunity that could easily slip out of your grasp.
Yeah, especially a title fight.
Yeah, you may never get this back.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Shit, you break your leg and your career's, you could have been the best champ. This guy named, TJ... fucking what was his name? I'm thinking Miller, but that's a comedian. Anyways, a guy who was going to be one of the best champs ever, and they just chose to give it to the more popular fighter. Then he was way on the sidelines, and he got a huge injury. Then he had some problems mentally, and then it was just gone. He probably could have been the best in the world, but no one even knows his name.
Damn. Yeah, that's good take, man. And you know what? To be honest, I'm kind of over football. You know?
Really?
Yeah. You know what? Over the last couple of years,
A lot of whistles.
Too many whistles. Can't even play the fucking game anymore, And I get it. I get the whole head trauma thing and all that stuff. And, it makes sense. But, football's football, man. It's rugby, same thing. But just the whole, I don't know, man. We talk about, you don't believe your country would do this and conspiracies that and conspiracy that. Dude, I honestly believe sports are rigged. They very easily can be. But with football in general, even going to a game, you go to a stand, it's super fucking expensive. You have to pay $100 at least, and parking, and then beers and all. It's just expensive. And you get onto the field, and the players are fucking 200 yards away from you. You can't even. They look like little ants way down there. Much rather watch it on TV. That's one thing. Whereas in basketball, you go to a game, it doesn't matter if you're in the nosebleed section. They're fucking right there. If you yell something at them, they're going to hear you, And it's cheaper tickets. I'd buy tickets for $12, $15 when I go to the Kings games. So there's that. But, just the NFL in general, we even talked about the whole Bubba Wallace thing and how NASCAR approached that. And NFL is just horrible about shit like that, And so all this tied together is just and then Raiders, I'm a Raider fan. They're moving to Las Vegas, which I don't have a problem with, but it just ties into that whole, I'm kind of over it. I'll watch a game here and there, but whatever. I'm done.
Yeah, and that's part of what, because I played football. I fucking want to play football tomorrow. It was a fucking great barbaric sport. But I noticed that I was watching a lot of guys standing around instead of playing football.
Right.
A lot of whistles, and it just, I don't know. And I remember kind of going off your conspiracy theory. It's in, what was it, September 2001, when the attack happened, I remember my Isaac Rodriguez, I think it was, said, Patriots are going to win this year because they're the America's team.
Yeah,
and they ended up winning, but they're also badass. I don't know, but who knows? But that's one thing I like about fighting, like with basketball, college basketball, I think especially there's been over the years, 80s, 90s, of people getting paid off or bookies. And with fighting, there's humans, so there's corruption, but it's hard to do in fighting because it happens and probably still happens, but you could tell. I mean, there's a guy, Bob Sapp, that's been notorious for it. Don't want to talk too much shit because he's a big motherfucker. But Bob Sapp, come on the podcast. I'll just have a gun in my lap, and I'm going to need to get a bigger gun. He's a fucking massive dude.
Give me one too.
But he was making money and just, and we get a jab in the face and fold on the ground. And, and there's fights you could review where you're like, that wasn't a submission. And like those people get called out and it ruins them. Okay. Where I think it's easier in basketball, I don't know.
Team sport,
to like or throw an interception. I think it's harder to be clear cut where you see a jab miss and the guy falls. You're like, what the fuck? So I don't know, but corruption, man, it ruins good things.
It does, man. It does. And you know what? It's unfortunate too because
it's the dumbest statement I ever said. Corruption ruins good things. So big. Anyways.
Well, my son, he got into football. Not completely into football, but it was one of those things where, and of course, after college, you hear a lot about, well, sports are just a way to distract you from the real issues in the world, and I do believe that. But my son liked football. I liked football. We'd sit down on a Sunday, have some pizza or whatever, and it was bonding, man. I mean, some of the best bonding I've ever done with my kid is watching a sport and high-fiving each other, and you know what I mean, that kind of thing. So that was my rationale, right?
It's like a Hallmark commercial, bro. High-fiving.
Right.
No hugs, no eye contact.
No, social distance. It was like that. But now that he likes basketball, my wife likes the Kings. My daughter loves the Kings. She has her favorite players. And so it's different, I think, with basketball. And I'm sure it's corrupt, too, because the last fucking finals, I think it's like the last 3 or 4 years when they go to the final, for the finals, it's the 7 games. It's gone to 7 games every single fucking time.
Because money, right?
Because of money, right. And so it's
extra airtime and sponsors.
Exactly. Ticket sales, beer sales, all that shit.
Yep.
And so you think like, okay, well, we'll rig it up until game 6, and then game 7, just let them do their thing, We're just like, you motherfucker. I don't know. Maybe that's not true, but
why? What's the history of them having? I never got this about certain sports either. Why, like, there's one Super Bowl. Why is there multiple games in basketball for the championship?
Yeah, that's interesting.
That leaves a lot of room for that to happen, I would assume.
Yeah, it is. And they actually play each team several times. And baseball, too. They fucking play
Is it?
a bunch of games.
I was just thinking, so baseball, the World Series is multiple games, right? Yeah.
Right.
How many, like, a lot of games, right? Yeah.
I never put too much
thought
into
that. Why
that.
would you do that? Like, that's one thing I always was like, what the fuck? Why would they have just one game, bro?
Right.
That's your chance.
Because, and I almost want to say, like, well, it's because maybe they'll have an injured player or maybe, they'll have a slouch. But this can happen in football, too.
Well, I'll tell you this. If you put a fighter against another fighter and say over the next 3 years you're going to have 5 fights or whatever, you will definitely know who the better fighter is at the end of those 5 fights. So maybe that's an argument for it.
Right.
No flukes or knockout fluke or whatever. Right. So, or just a bad day or whatever. But it does seem more that team sport, not everyone's going to have a bad day, I think.
Yeah, and that's why you have bench players,
But
interesting.
Yeah, I always wondered why they did that.
So what do you think? Rematch Diaz and McGregor?
It looks like McGregor's going after Masvidal.
I've seen that.
Who just lost to Usman. Oh, you were over watching it,
right.
And he wasn't prepared for that fight, but whatever, he survived. But McGregor, I think they're trying to set up McGregor versus him because Masvidal still has the bad motherfucker belt that he won from Nate Diaz,
right,
due to a cut. But it was also putting it on him. I got to admit, big Nate Diaz fan, but Masvidal is no joke. And Masvidal came out with a statement and said, he said, I want that real belt.
Right.
I don't care how much money Conor McGregor is going to get me. I want the actual belt, the real belt of this. I want to, he probably wants a full training camp to fight Usman again or whoever's the champ. And McGregor will change your life money-wise. That's just how big of a superstar he is.
Right.
But he said, I don't care. I'm stubborn, and I want that real belt. That's what means is important to me. So you gotta respect that.
Oh, absolutely. He's a fighter, man. He's got that heart.
Oh, they're all fighters, Nick.
Well, yeah, right. But someone like McGregor and even what's the boxer's name that fought McGregor?
Boxer? Oh, Mayweather.
Mayweather, yeah. I mean, fuck, they're all about that money, man.
Yeah, and that's why Mayweather, but they're
badasses.
Mayweather and McGregor, that's the thing. There's some voices out there, but they get exposed quick if they don't walk the walk. And McGregor and Mayweather have proven to walk the walk.
Oh, absolutely.
And because trust me, I was a McGregor hater, and now I'm fucking love that dude. Watching the fight, it's just amazing to see what he's able to do. It's like watching. I was watching Bruce Lee competitions that are you can watch some of his actual competitions, not movies.
Okay.
Pretty grainy material, but man, me and Gina were watching it, and he's just fucking so smooth and quick. And by the time his counter is faster than the original guy's punch. Wow. So you know a counter, right?
Yeah, right.
Like you throw a jab, and then I counter that and throw a cross. His, whether it's a leg or hand or whatever, is faster than your original punch from the video we're watching. And I say, man, McGregor's got this kind of style. I think McGregor's got because he's kind of that guy where you're like, oh, he's got this weird stance, and it's almost like a karate stance. And man, yeah, McGregor. I became a huge McGregor fan because he ruined my boy Aldo's. He messed with my boy Aldo, and I almost cried. I literally it was the only time I almost cried for a fight. I didn't cry, but I was so heartbroken. But yeah, man. Fuck, dude, they back it up. So that's why you like these people. Masvidal's the same,
Yeah, right. And Diaz too.
Diaz, but guess what? So there is rumblings of McGregor and Diaz because they need that third fight.
Yeah, that's what I've been reading about.
Yeah. So you saw that little Twitter exchange?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Nate Diaz hasn't really responded. He kind of made a statement, and McGregor said, "Shut the fuck up, bitch," or something, because he's trying to get that fight.
Right.
And that's how do you get a fight with a Diaz? You become a bitch. But it didn't work. So I was like, Nate, don't play into this.
Yeah, totally. Right.
Yeah.
I would love to see that though, because to be honest, I watched both fights. And I kind of thought the second one was really close. Could have been called either way, and I think people would have been agreeable on either of those decisions. But now that it was 1-1, hey.
Well, and if we're playing it like we just kind of said, why do sports have multiple things? Right. If I had to watch the first fight and second fight and score that, Nate Diaz is pretty high because Nate Diaz did a 1-2, basically was going to knock out McGregor in the first fight. Right. And then McGregor went for a takedown, which is crazy because that's not his game. He obviously was fucked up. Right. And then he got an easy submission. He pitter-pattered him a little bit on the ground, and Nate got that sub. And then in the later fight, it was a decision towards McGregor of a very close fight. Right. I didn't ever get on the scorecard and really dive deep into it, but I've watched it multiple times. I believe it's out free now. You can watch the full fight. Still a fucking amazing fight. I thought Nate Diaz did enough in the early rounds and stuff to win it. In my personal opinion, he did get knocked down a lot, but it's hard to argue that. But he, so if I added up those two fights, I think Nate Diaz is on top. Right. And I would agree. Yeah. So McGregor's notorious for wrecking people and then not coming back and rematching them, except when he loses. Which is bullshit. Right. But he has that power because so many people want to watch him.
Yeah, yeah. And what is UFC still popular? I mean, I don't follow it enough to know, but is it?
Oh, UFC is the only fucking sports organization doing it. Right? Well, it sounds like a lot are opening up, but they've been doing it. Island Fights just making moves to get this entertainment out. Yeah, and they've been doing it great. I think I've been missing events. They put on a couple. UFC is, I don't know, you saying with COVID, has it dropped?
No, well, just in general. Yeah, in general.
Oh, it's huge. It's fucking huge. Okay. It's bigger than it's ever been. They got, they've always had a lot of Brazilian fighters from certain countries, but now almost every country. You got fucking this I forget her name, Chinese chick, fucking badass dude, fucking great fighter. Russians are invading. You got even Dagestan, which is probably Russia but kind of different. But it's tons of Dagestan fighters out in California training. That's where. Wow, this is our first early morning thing. I usually blame it on the alcohol. Now I'm blaming it on being tired. But the champ, what's his name? His dad just died. Talked about COVID death.
The bear wrestler.
Yeah, Jesus Christ, I'm blanking here.
Yeah, I'm blanking too. God damn it.
I'm trying to think of his first name. It's throwing me off because his first name's hard. But anyways, Jesus, I can't think of his name.
I can't think of it.
I can't not say this dude's name.
Oh,
man. Goff. It's
Oh, Jesus.
Khabib.
Oh, Khabib, yeah.
Jesus, I'm thinking of his last name that I can never pronounce. Khabib Nurmagomedov or something.
Okay.
Nurmagomedov. But Khabib, yeah, Khabib's from Dagestan. He's bringing all those guys. Those guys are just legit wrestlers. They're fucking badass. They're all San Jose. A lot of them out there training. But yeah, man, so it's the most. Dana White, when they took it over, it's one of the greatest business stories ever.
Interesting. And
it's cool to watch it. It was one thing, fuck. If I would have invested in the goddamn UFC and the fucking Joe Rogan Experience. I'd be those were two things I was in where I would bring it up. And people like, shut the fuck. What the fuck are you talking? Fuck Joe Rogan. Like, damn, Fear Factor. Fuck UFC. Fucking cockfighting. They used to say that's like cockfighting.
Okay,
like, it's illegal. It's
both
illegal.
fucking huge now.
Yeah, McCain came out against it. That's actually why I didn't vote for McCain. I was like, oh, fuck that. But now he's a fan, or well, he's dead, but he became a fan later in life and retracted some of his statements. But yeah, man, they said, I want this to be the biggest sport in 20 years. And Dana White's angle was that fighting is universal. American football is not universal. You play American football in some country, they're going to be like, what the fuck is this? Now,
well, they tried it. And it didn't work out so well. I mean, they go to Mexico City, and I think they've gone to London and played football games.
Yeah, and they have football teams in Mexico. I don't know if we watched one, but yeah, there was a team in Monterrey when I'd always go down there, and I was like, what the fuck? But I'm saying like every aspect of the world.
Right.
So like the closest thing to that is football, soccer.
Yeah, right.
It's the closest thing because most people are playing that in these like ghettos or fucking wherever. You throw a ball down, people know what to do. They know the rules. They know this. Maybe not everywhere, but most places. That's probably the one that has the most spread.
I would think so. Yeah.
But fighting, Dana White's angle was any language you speak, as long as you have two Y's and you could watch that, you know what's going on because that's ingrained in our DNA. That's ingrained in us. We know fighting. No matter what, people know fighting.
100%.
And that's what he thought why it could be the biggest sport in the world. And I don't think it's the biggest sport now, but it's fucking huge. His was in 20 years, it's going to be the biggest sport in the world. They are like a little over 20 years now. One of the biggest sports in the world right now, but not at the level he thought it would be. But goddamn, you shoot for the stars, you'll get to the moon. And fucking huge, Nick. It's fucking huge.
I mean, it's just part of our human experience, I think, right? Gladiators and coming up, just something that we've always been exposed to was battles like this. Two men, two women, two people have a confrontation. There's a little voice in the head like, ooh, this might get physical. Right. How do I stack up against this dude? You know, and it's like, right, interesting.
And I don't know if everyone has this voice. There's also a little voice in my head like, I probably could take this guy. I could probably take Bob's out. No.
Or yeah, I better just sit down on this one. The fight or flight, right?
Yeah. I was gonna say I don't think I have that voice, but yeah, if I fucking saw like Bass-Roon walk in and like kick a bag, I'd be like, yeah, I'm gonna sit this one out. I don't want to break my femur. But yeah, it's something universal, and they're fucking huge, man. They went 40 million till they broke even.
Damn.
$40 million.
Yeah, you know what? Because again, going back to the football thing, they tried to go to other places, but it just didn't work out the way they thought it was. You know, the ticket sales were low and this kind of thing. And
why do you think that is? Because it's a great sport.
It is. Well,
it's foreign, I guess.
I think it is. It's definitely an American thing. You know, it's definitely a thing that is established here, and now they're trying to spread it out. But
so is baseball, and baseball is huge in like Cuba. I mean, freaking Japan. Baseball is like popular in a lot of like interesting countries.
Baseball's been around the longest, right? Is baseball the longest running sport besides soccer?
Not fighting, bro.
Oh well, yeah, right, yeah.
Ooh, that's a great question.
Interesting.
I know it's a very American sport. That's
America's
America,
pastime, right?
Yeah. But I know like there's parts of Cuba you go to and you just argue baseball. There's no baseball being played. The guys get past, they go there and they argue.
Interesting.
It's awesome because, you know, there's a lot of, they're usually talking about American teams because there's a lot of Cubans that go up there, Puerto Ricans and stuff like that. Yeah, and I know Japan's huge on it, baseball. I'm trying to think of is there a country I'm missing? I feel like there's another country that's super into baseball. But anyways, I don't know enough about baseball. But yeah, I don't know. That's interesting. I would imagine soccer.
And you know what's funny is we're talking about sports and like I love sports, you know, and you love certain sports and I love certain sports and I don't like certain sports and you don't like certain sports. But here we are talking about sports because, God damn, we need something, Jay. We need something right now.
I said the first month, I said, fuck, there's a football. I wish there was a football game on right now. I still don't. But basketball, I like watching basketball too. I don't know about baseball. I get super bored. But I like going to games. But man, I would love to watch a football game right now. Maybe I say that and then I watch an hour and go, fuck this. But like, I am so sick of whatever's on YouTube and whatever.
Right.
Because I'm watching these podcasts and they talk about content, but there's not a lot of content out there.
Yeah, right.
So it's like they're kind of talking about COVID. And we even got shit for that, talking about COVID all the time. And it's like, what else are we going to talk about?
Yeah, right. Yeah. But shit, man, 30th NBA starting and in that bubble. So be something to watch. And it's interesting too because they are it's for the championship, right? They went through 3/4 of the season and then you know they were going to end the season, but there's so much backlash about we need a champion. We need someone to win a championship. And so then they, took a month to decide, okay, what the fuck are we going to do? And so whoever wins this is going to be the NBA champion, but there's not going to be any awards. for this competition. So they have, rookie of the year and, MVP. And so the bubble plane is not going to have anything to do with that. They're going to base all those awards off of what happened in the regular season.
Huh. Yeah, because I remember you mentioned that they were like still have unfinished business last season, which is crazy. They're just going to split it. But that seems fair to me. Seems like it's weird because there's so much time has gone by. Players are changing teams and shit still.
Yeah.
So they could have a completely different team. But probably not.
Yeah, I'm sure there are a couple players that are on different teams.
Now so all the teams are under this bubble in Florida.
Well, not all of them. Only the ones that made a certain criteria as far as wins and losses.
How many teams?
16, I want to say.
And each team has how many people?
12, 14, something like that.
And then their coaching staff. I'm trying to think how big this bubble is, but
yeah, right.
It's weird that you told me they let general public in there. Isn't that a fucking?
Well, so not into the bubble, but into
the games.
No. The Disney World.
Oh, is that where it's at?
Yeah. It's at Disney World. Okay. Yeah. So it's some attractions are open, not all of them, but it is interesting.
Yeah, because you're kind of making a higher risk bringing those fuckers in.
Absolutely,
right? But it's Disney World. They gotta make money, I guess. But yeah, that's interesting. So there's how many teams you say?
I want to say 16, but I could be.
So they have a whole bracket to go.
Oh, they have a whole bracket. Yeah.
Shit. So I thought maybe it's just 2 teams or something.
No, it's the introductory games. It's each team is going to play 8 games, and then out of those 8 games, they're going to create the bracket. So those 8 games. So there was 20 games left in the regular season. They broke that down to 8 games.
Yeah.
And so after those 8 games, then however you win or lose, you're going to be out of the bracket or in the bracket, and then they're going to play the playoffs.
Interesting.
And so yeah, man. I mean, the Kings have I think 14 or 16 year playoff drought. And so Sacramento Kings fans are fucking dying for a playoff run, man. And if this is it, fuck it. Let's do it.
Are they looking good?
Oh, they're looking solid, man.
Oh, really?
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah.
So this fucking COVID thing's like almost like a curse for them.
Oh, dude, fuck yeah, it was, man. And actually, the last game they played was against the New Orleans Pelicans, and it was going to be a deciding game as to who would be closer to the 8th seed, because you have to make the 8th seed to be in the playoffs. The Grizzlies were on that 8th seed, but the Kings were fucking closing in on them, and then the Pelicans were closing in on the Kings. And so if the Kings beat the Pelicans in that game, that would set the Pelicans one below, and that would set the Kings one higher to make that playoff seed. So that was a huge fucking game, man, and they didn't play it. They actually, fans crowded into the stadium, everybody was ready, and then the Pelicans said, I'm not going to, because actually one of the players in the NBA, Gobert, tested positive just like 3 hours before that. And so the Pelicans organization said, fuck that, we ain't playing. And so essentially they forfeit it, but they didn't count it as a forfeit because of the whole situation. And so they just didn't play that game. And fans are pissed, because they had to stay in there in the arena until all the players left. And then they were able to leave, which fucking sucks. Yeah, that's terrible.
I'd be pissed too.
But yeah, it's last year the Kings came close to playoffs, and then everybody was saying, oh, next year they got it,
Yeah.
And so this year they were playing. They had some pretty fucking substantial injuries to some of their best players, but they still fucking competed at a high level, man. And the fact that they're so fucking close, I think they're still close, man. We'll see. I'm crossing my fingers.
When's the last time the Kings won? Was that with Bibby? Did they ever win?
Yeah. So so they haven't. Actually, I don't think they've ever won a championship.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but they were very close in 2002, and this was Bibby. This was Vlade Divac.
Yeah.
This was Doug Christie.
Last time I watched it, because my dad was a huge Sacramento Kings fan. I don't know.
Is that right?
Oh yeah, he was huge. Always had the games on.
Okay. Chris Webber.
Yeah, I remember watching because every time it was his house, he had it on. That's the only time I watched it. But
Okay.
I remember he was a diehard. Yeah, interesting. Well, fucking COVID, fucking shit up, huh?
Yeah, well,
across the board.
We'll see. Yeah. Oh, fuck yeah. And we'll see what happens, man. July 30th, it's gonna be. Oh man, I'm gonna be glued to the fucking
excited?
TV. Fuck yeah, I'm so excited.
Get
man.
your big number one.
Yeah, exactly. You've seen that in my house, haven't you?
No, I haven't. I just know every sports guy's got a big number one hand and a little flag or something. But well, shit. Kind of talking about other news is that they released the companies that received the COVID payments.
Oh, PPP loans.
Yeah, all the loans from the government, right? Or I don't know how they worked it out, but you can look it up by state. We'll put in the description a link to where you could download it. I have it downloaded, but it's a huge file. But it's interesting to go through, especially like local communities. You see some names on there. I don't think I saw Lindsay, but I saw a couple of Visalia, some Sacramento. But just interesting to see who got it and who didn't. And I don't know if they released how they calculated that, but I would like to learn how they did that. Me and my girlfriend had this debate about, I said, man, like San Francisco, a lot of the museums got like 5 to 10 million. I think most of them got 5 to 10 million loans, but it was because that's what it just said next to in the column.
Right.
5/10, which 5 million. You're just gonna leave a dash there,
right?
5 or 10 million. That's a big jump.
Oh, that's a huge fucking jump.
But
and do they really need that? Like, does a museum need $10 million as an emergency relief fund that's supposed to be geared towards helping your average small business owner out?
One with the left and right being so versus each other. Nancy Pelosi's district and her and Trump obviously hate each other.
Right.
And then to see how that makes sense, I was like, oh, maybe the city decides. Like it just maybe trickles down to the governor, then the city. I don't know. But yeah, I was surprised to see a lot of San Francisco museums on there. And I was like, oh shit, they got a lot of money. And I was thinking, how easy is it for just like one CEO to be like, I'm just going to take 500,000 off the top? Because compared to million, that's
drop in the pan, right?
So
did you see my name on there, Jay?
I looked your business up, didn't see. I looked up some other business owners.
Because I didn't get shit.
A lot of small business that I know didn't get shit. But
and I applied.
Yeah. So so we got in this debate, like, why aren't small this is bullshit. And my girlfriend, playing devil's advocate, which we always do to each other, said, well, they probably provide more jobs and the economy's so shocked. We need more jobs. I said, okay, so that makes sense. I get that. But does this make sense during tax time? We're treated as equals. Yeah, or they might even pay less through certain corporation loopholes, like
or nothing.
Yeah, or just a percentage above, because I guarantee when a small business and a big San Francisco museum or whatever big corporation out there goes to do taxes, there probably isn't a 10 million percentage difference. There might be a 10 million in profit because that's how percentages work. I don't see how that equals up, because if the small guy's got to do what the big guy do, and obviously the big guy goes up, there's small percentage changes, but nothing drastic like where you get 10 million, fuck you. So I don't get, if we're going to play that game, then we got to play it across the board is what I'm saying.
Absolutely. A major imbalance, man. Yeah. And you know what? I think the first round of PPE loans, and I think it's payment protection plan or something like that. The first round, I think they said is $500 billion. It's a lot of fucking money. And so me, and as well, I'm in a small business group where there's 45 business owners in this networking group. And so I was communicating with people. People are happy, right? Oh, yeah, I can sure use that. I have a small business. And, for me, I didn't have any employees at this time. It's just me. I'm kind of like, well, that would be cool. But whatever, if I don't get it, whatever, I'm good. It turned out that money was fucking gone in a week. $500 billion gone in a week. And so everyone I talked to, no, I didn't get it. No, I didn't get it. No, I didn't get it. And then next thing you know, you hear in the news, like, oh, this big old fucking multi-billion-dollar corporation got 10 million. This corporation got 10 million. And so some of these companies were getting huge fucking flack, man. Social media and regular media. And, man, I can't believe this company. And some of the companies gave it back. And they said, fuck that. I don't want this fucking bad juju. I'll just give it back.
Yeah.
And a lot of companies did. And then they had the second round, which I think was another $500 billion. And then a lot of that, then I started knowing business owners that did get some of that money. But then more recently now, they said Kanye West had some businesses that got some money and other huge businesses. And it's like, God damn, these motherfuckers. It's
a huge list. Like, I was like, I'm going to dive through. It was like also Jeffrey Epstein's list. Maybe we'll leave that in the description. I can't tell if it's the old Black Book, Black Book with everyone's names, the new one, but I looked up a few people in there. You could download it. Also a big file. Maybe we'll leave a link in the description, but it's, just head of modeling, big corporations. And it's so hard because luckily Epstein had the names. When you're looking at a corporation, people go hide behind names and corporations. So it's hard to know who owns this, who does, and that's the problem with politics and corporations being above above the government, basically. But it's interesting to look down that list and I'm just curious how they came to those decisions. And I need to educate myself on that and learn a little bit more.
And you know what? I even know some people that, because again, I applied, I got denied. And my reason for denial was my credit. I have bad credit.
What was, sorry to cut you off, but what was the application like? Do they know your money you're making, the hour? Like, how do they?
Very simple. I mean, it was fucking super basic, man. It took me literally like 7 minutes to apply. And it was, and they did that intentionally. They wanted it to be easy so they can get the money out quick.
Okay.
And it was essentially like how much money you made last year, how many employees do you have, how much money they made, and like your business EIN numbers, like identification number for your business. And just some general fucking info, man. And so I sent that out, and then they sent me back, and they asked a couple more questions, and I sent that back. And so it was very simple, very basic. But when they denied me, I tell my coach, I told my bank, and they're like, oh, no, they shouldn't be judging that off your credit because this is not a credit thing. This is a payment protection plan, right? If you're struggling, they're going to help you. And so like, no, you need to go back and here, go through this bank and this and that. And at that point I was like, you know what, I'm good. Like I really don't need it. I've been running my business off cash flow. I never taken out a loan. Like if I wanted to call it quits right now, I totally could.
Yeah.
And I like that. I like not owing people money, so I just, whatever. But I do know other businesses who are very similar to mine, no employees, just one person. And they got the loan only because they're like, fuck, 3%, why not? I'll take a $10,000 3% loan any day,
Yeah.
And I get that, but I was just like, nah, fuck it, I'm good.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and it makes me think about, you're talking about traveling, and if you want to build your credit up, because I had never had credit. I told you how to get that car.
Right.
And to be honest, the car grew is so small. Luckily, I paid it off over 5-6 years, so now it did. But you know what? Bumped my credit up, and this was actually Craig from Singapore, who we talked to in one of our first episodes. He had a buddy, a really cool, interesting guy that went out drinking with us one night, and he was like talking about credit cards. I'm like, I don't fucking mess with credit cards. I'm just scared of them. He's like, oh, dude, you shouldn't be, man. He's like, I'm actually quitting my job soon and traveling around the world in 10-star resorts for 1 year. And I think he lasted 10 months before he ran out of money, but he signed up for all these programs, and he was way beyond me. I still don't understand it, but anyways, one card he talked about was a Chase Sapphire card, which is like a travel card. You get all these points, but you spend $4,000 in the first 3 months. So I think I got a $5,000 card, is like what they generally give the first at the beginner level.
Okay.
And then you spend $4,000. So if I had to buy furniture for my apartment in San Francisco, I had nothing because I lived in a closet. So and I wanted a fucking living room, so I got like a cheap ass IKEA. It was all IKEA shit. It was all cheap, but spent that $4,000 and then got all these travel points for flights. And so flew around, took a bunch of vacations, and this guy does this as like a business. I just did it once, and my credit, and I made my payments on time. Didn't make big lump sums like you're supposed to. Just made my bare minimum, actually.
Sure. Okay.
But damn, Nick, it fucking changed my credit score like you wouldn't believe.
Okay. Yeah.
And paying off student loans here and there helped, but that credit card was number one. Chase Sapphire, because if you're going to travel and you know you're going to spend the money already, plus you're going to get this reimbursement of $4,000 or up to $4,000. Dude, I don't know how the credit cards and that are going to work and angle, but it seems like a good opportunity there.
Oh yeah, and this is not an advertisement for Chase Sapphire, by the way.
Oh fuck, I'm advertising it, dude. That Chase Sapphire card's a shit. Actually, I'm going to use it again. I don't know if it applies again or it's just a one-time deal.
Well, you know what, man? I'm glad you said that, Jay, because my coach tells me all the time too. If you're going to get a credit card, get that one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because why not get points? If you're going to spend the fucking money, why wouldn't you get points at the same time to travel the world?
If you're going to get a credit card now, I'm new to the game. This was a couple years ago, or a few years ago now, 3. But if you're going to get a credit card, I knew nothing, and I just researched it. There's so much resources. They rank them. They get the chart where this outweighs this one that you can compare. Man, like a lot of people have put, just like people like me and you, have put time into building these websites and talking about this shit. Not a bank. Don't listen to the guy giving you the card. But man, you could learn a lot. And the Chase Sapphire, I think it's $0 the first year, but then it's like $95 a year just to have a credit card.
I see.
Which always didn't make sense to me, but it was definitely worth it. And
that's pennies on the dollar a day.
Yeah, and you could definitely get in debt and trouble with these credit cards. So be careful. I was always scared of them, but I'm saying I always had shitty credit, and now I have excellent credit that's given me opportunities to do things I would have never had.
Right, which can give you the opportunity to own land and to buy bigger things, to buy a new car.
Start a business.
Yeah, start a business. All this shit, man.
Yeah. Quit your job.
Right. Well, you know what? A buddy of mine, and I won't say his name because maybe I don't know how they're going to react to this, but a buddy of mine travels a lot for his company, right? His company sends him all over the fucking place. Tennessee, he comes to Sac all the time and for training. And so what he does is he gets reimbursed for everything he spends, and he gets a per diem. So he will go to travel, use his, we'll just call it a Chase Sapphire, I don't know what it is, but the travel points, right? He uses those, gets reimbursed, so basically he's getting free flyer miles.
Yep.
Fucking genius, dude.
And that's what we've kind of had this conversation. Like if a big corporation did that, like Amazon paying $0 in tax, would be like, that's fucking corruption. But it's like, dude, if you want to be a smart dude, and that's a loophole, and I believe loopholes are there on. Oh man. Anyways, there's this great quote by the Russian dude that's really smart that always goes on Joe Rogan. Always wears like a suit. He's like a badass jiu-jitsu guy, but he's very intelligent, and that's why he's on there. But he had a quote that said something similar that was just like, confusion. Bureaucracies create confusion. Confusion complexity creates loopholes create wealth. It was this weird. So sometimes I think these loopholes are there on purpose. And you hear about Freemasons have all these finance books, and there's a book, old book called The Secrets of Central Banking or something like that I got to pick up. But I hear there's just little angles and compound interest. No one talks about compound interest, and I don't know, man. It's weird that like your friend, to me, fucking savvy dude doing the best with the game he's in. Right. But if Amazon does it, we like to say the corrupt because they're so rich, right? So it's like this weird. If it's an individual, it's okay, but if there's employees and stuff, it gets weird and corrupt.
Yeah, right.
So then, what does that mean? So say we're like, okay, I could give Amazon a little leeway now that I learned about I'm using a loophole, but then do I give corporations a leeway on controlling the government? No, like it gets weird, right? It's like,
yeah, that definitely gets weird, and you get lost in that kind of stuff too. And I think because my buddy still pays taxes, right? Amazon, I don't know if they pay taxes or not. Same with Facebook.
But legally, they paid 0%.
Yeah, right. So I think there's that factor too. But yeah, I totally agree. And we've had this conversation. Fuck, if we ever got to a point where we're making a lot of money, fuck, I best believe I'm going to open up an overseas fucking checking account.
Yeah, I might not do that because I want to invest in this country. I wish there was more manufacturing and stuff here, and it seems, I don't know, but that's Trump said he was going to do that, and that's I'm not a Trump hater. I've said it before. I'm definitely not a Trump lover. I tend to say fuck both sides, but he did run his campaign in 2016 about bringing manufacturing in. He did, and then the Republican says it's too expensive. So I think that's going to hurt him in this election. I still think the debates are going to say a lot because I don't know how Biden's going to do.
Oh yeah, we don't know. We'll see.
His sentences are hard, but man, you remember remember I told you about that birthday commercial? Where's Trump?
Oh yeah, right.
Went on a rant about fuck this, and I saw the same as that commercial last night, and I was like, oh shit, has a birthday passed? Are they trying to like rerun his birthday? But it wasn't. It was the same setup, same lady. You could tell they did it probably on the same day. Wow. I don't know, same exact thing, but it was a different message.
He has multiple birthdays.
Yeah, probably. But he was saying that, or she was saying, because he doesn't do it, that to text America to this number, and Trump wants to meet with you, and they're going to pay for the flights and this and this and this. And I'm like, and so you could go meet him and you get a picture with him. So obviously they're trying to, just probably because of the election, right? Trying to get some type of press going. But I'm like, wait, who's paying for those flights?
Oh, I know.
Wait, what?
Me and you, Jay.
What?
I'm sure.
It's like we're paying for a lot of shit. We're paying for everything, right?
Yeah,
everyone's paying for everything. But it just got a little like, I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I'm surprised no one's doing shit. Like, I know Trump had one thing in Tulsa or some shit.
Yeah, right. Mm-hmm.
But I'm surprised. It's like November's not too far away, man. What's going on? Is that normal? Because I don't remember. I get my months mixed up.
No, absolutely not.
They usually do a year in advance, right?
Oh yeah. They're doing all, but COVID, man. I know COVID is a huge factor, and I do think. I mean, again, I'm not into huge on politics, but I do sit back and see kind of from a distance what's going on, and from what I understand, fuck, dude, Biden's nowhere to be found. I mean, he's not doing any of that. He's not doing any rallying. Rarely do I ever see him on television.
But then that's probably on purpose because he's having a speech. Right. Something's going on with him. Whether he's too old or what. And that's why his vice presidency is huge.
Oh, dude, yeah.
But it's weird that they're propping him up. It feels depressing. It does. It's like, great.
But does it surprise you though? It doesn't surprise me. It's like, here we go again with all these fucking charades.
Yeah, it's gonna be weird. You got, let's call it what it is. The left hates Trump because he's this white rich guy that has sexual allegations against him. Now we got the Democrats put up a guy, the DNC put up a guy that is a white rich guy that has sexual allegations against him. And it's just like, but they're not saying that now because kind of like Dr. Owen said, it's not the lesser evil. I disagree.
Yeah, right.
But agree to disagree. But it's like, well, now there's crickets over sexual allegations and rich white guys. Now all of a sudden there's crickets. It's like, you can't say that and then not hold it true to your own backyard.
All right.
And that's what people do. It's like this, and this, and this. But if it's over here, we're just going to keep
quiet.
And I'm like, you're corrupt. About that. Yeah. You're corrupt. Yeah, it's weird.
But, speaking of those sexual allegations and going back to, I think we kind of just overshadowed that too quickly was the little black book, Epstein's black book. Fuck, man. Ghislaine or whatever the fuck her Maxwell.
Ghislaine Maxwell. I think it's Ghislaine. I finally learned how to say it.
Okay.
There was a video I watched on how to say her first name.
It's not Ghislaine?
Ghislaine, yeah. It's some British. You need a British accent.
But, hey, shit's gonna hit the fan. I think. I mean, probably not hit the fan in a crazy way, but shit's gonna get exposed, man. And that black book already came out. There's names on it. Shit, Jay and I have even talked about delving into that a little bit. So
yeah, I would like to pick. Like I looked through it. I don't know if have you.
I haven't looked through it.
Yeah, I looked through it. There's Saudi princes on there. And I've looked up just some. I went and just picked random names, and if it was a name I already knew, like I heard Woody Allen's, and I didn't see his name, but like if it was a name like that, I avoided it because that's gonna make the news.
Right.
So I was like, let's just look at these motherfuckers, see how they fly off the radar. And I told Nick we should do it where we grab these guys that. You could talk about these big wigs, Will Smith,
right.
Trump, and all these people on there, Clintons and Woody Allen, but you hear names that you ignore because you don't know who they are. But when you look them up, like one guy's head of modeling agencies, a lot of PR companies, and it gets weird, management real estate companies, huge guys. And I look these guys up, just Google their names, and they're fucking rich, and they got these huge corporations, and they're a public figure, which I bet they wish they weren't now, but you could look up their pictures, you could look up their business,
Interesting.
And I think we should pick maybe 5 or 10 of those people, maybe once a week, or maybe 3 people once a week, and just call them out. And hopefully we don't get a bullet in the back of our head. Hopefully we don't get suicided. But it's
What do you think? You think we should, or you think we shouldn't? Comment below.
Yeah, let us know. Yeah, why not? But it's just fucking creepy. It's interesting, and it's like, fuck. Oh, dude. We'll talk about it some other time, but because I gotta make sure it's factual. But a guy on Reddit, before he committed suicide, he apparently worked in that organization for years as like a low-level driver.
Which organization?
Well, I don't know what you call it. The rich and popular.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know. He worked for Epstein. He worked for Rihanna.
Okay.
He worked for the Romneys. Mitt Romney ran for president, right. The Mormon family. He didn't work directly for Mitt, but he worked for Romney's. But it was just this crazy Reddit thread that he put. He said, I'm going to kill myself tonight because I'm just fucking depressed. And he just talked about being used, and he was like a low-level guy. And he was just talking about like things he had to do, from burying a body to being on Epstein's island. And he called out some names, but like I don't want to say because it could be non-factual, but one is Roger Stone, who was ran Trump's campaign and recently got arrested and let go by the FBI.
Right.
Him doing crazy shit. He has a Nixon tattoo on his back, and this guy describes, he didn't even know who he was, but saw the Nixon tattoo and then looked him up later. But so fucked up shit about that. The most fucked up shit I've heard, which I don't know, it's just a thread. And then the guy answered, he said, I'm going to he had a definitely coke habit, a bunch of drug habits that he admitted. And then he said he's going to run to the mini mart before they close, like 1 a.m., 12 or something. And he grabbed a bunch of booze, was already doing a bunch of shit, and said, I'll answer a couple questions. And then that's it. And then he answered a couple questions, and about 1:30 a.m., he went missing. Wow. And that was 12 hours before Ghislaine Maxwell, I fucked her name up. What was it? I already forgot. Ghislaine Maxwell was arrested.
Oh shit, dude.
So who knows if it's bullshit? Who knows? But it was the most fucked up shit I've heard about this. But I gotta check the sources.
Yeah, right. And you know what? It's automatically I would not believe it, but it doesn't surprise me. Because there's some fucking nasty motherfuckers out there, man. And especially the rich and powerful. They get away with fucking all kinds of shit.
Yeah, and he talked about that it's hard to talk about this without knowing if it's real or not. But right. It felt real when you're reading it because he was talking about Epstein being a nice dude. Mm-hmm. Like, he was fucked up, but he was a really nice guy. And then he would talk about like this Romney 22-year-old kid he had to fucking take care of in some mansion in Colorado was just the biggest piece of shit that he's ever, and just hated this fucker. And so you're like, oh, if someone's gonna write a fake article, they probably would go out to talk about Epstein more than this kid and how awful he is and stuff. And talk about stuff with Rihanna. I never met Rihanna, but apparently Rihanna likes some young girls. I don't know.
Oh, shit.
He even said he would go pick up Molly all the time, and they gave him a drug kit, and then he had to pick up some young people sometimes. And prostitutes, whatever. So it's very interesting. Check it out on Reddit. You can find it if you look for it. But
I wonder if there's more people like that are going to come out, because I mean, obviously, if this was going down, and I honestly believe it was, they had to have fucking goons. I wonder if more of these goons are going to be coming out.
Well, that's what he was. He said I would start off as a driver for a gentleman's club, and this is total conspiracy theory. Like, this is total. I just read this last night, I think, or 2 nights ago, and it's but it's fun to talk about. It's entertaining, but it won't surprise me. But we should definitely double check this. But anyways, he made some allegations, and he the most insider stories I've heard. But he talked about Oscar Wilde being like Epstein's dude. You know Oscar Wilde?
Mm-mm.
Am I saying it right? Oscar Wilder.
Maybe
Fat
Wilder?
No, Oscar Wilde was a writer, and I think he was one of the first public homosexuals that came out. I don't know if he was actually fully homosexual, but I don't know if he was bi or what, but he was one of the first to come out, and he lived his life by the term, which I didn't know reading this, and I looked it up, and I'm going to butcher the word here, Hendonism, Hendonism, something like that, which Oscar Wilde preached a lot, and it's basically how can something that feels so good be bad? And so it's that your goal in life is to increase your pleasures. Now there's different forms of this term where it could be physical, it could be mental, and it's taken a couple different turns over the years. But apparently Jeffrey Epstein had a conversation with this guy about it. And that, so it kind of shows how he formulated his mind. And the guy talked about, man, the dude was hollow inside and unhappy. And I think he went down this road and it was great. And then it left him, kind of alone and unhappy. And I wouldn't say he was an unhappy guy, but he felt like a hollow guy and inside. And so I looked that shit up, and I knew there had to be some type of justification. People always justify what they do. They especially tragic things. They justify it. The goon justified it with money.
Right.
He said, I fucking at the most made $150,000 a year, but I started making no money at a gentleman's club, and just interesting. You'll love it, man. Look into it.
Yeah,
it's fucking gross, creepy shit, dude.
Oh, it sounds like it. And you know what? The unfortunate part about this is we strive for this shit, right? People that want to know this information, like, man, I wish someday, somebody would just come out and say some shit. And then when they do, it's like, oh, well, can we believe them? Is this true? Is this factual? And it's a fucked up scenario because you really, really want this to happen, right? We really want to be educated on things. And when I say that, I think even about like extraterrestrials and shit like that, right? We really want to know. But when something comes out like that Navy video or whatever it was, that came out about the UFO, it's like, oh, is it real? Can I believe that? And it's like, fuck, this sucks. Like I really want to know, but who do I believe?
Well, and they're showing, like I said, like I feel, especially in America, that they spotlight things, and you see something on the news, and a month later you see it on the street, and you're like, fuck, Like that's why I think it's important to try to connect the dots, because you could almost predict the future, but they're only showing you the iceberg, the tip of the iceberg, but if that's all you're getting, you gotta look at all the tips and try to come to your own conclusion because let's be honest, we all conservative, liberal, this, that. At the end of the day, we're all humans with hopefully functioning brains that take in data, and Nick's data that he's taken over his life is a lot different than the data I've taken. A lot of similarities too, and I believe probably more similarities than difference. I butchered that word. There's my English. Similarities. Did I say it right?
Simulation?
Still sound weird, huh? But so it I believe people have more in common than they have different, but the news exposes what you have different to create these awkward conversations in this distance because they don't want us to be friends. And so it's you look at this shit and you look at the icebergs and there's more going on, and we have these functioning brains that take in data from whether our father, our mother, or lack thereof, or our grandparents, or the creepy uncle that raped us, or we don't have an uncle that raped us, by the way, but like whatever, or the perfect family that wanted to pressure you into being the best athlete or the best this or that, or growing up in the ghetto, or growing up in the middle of a
product of your environment,
a town in Texas with no fucking opportunities, but you're told there's opportunities because whatever. So it's like all we take in this data and then our brain produces something and we produce what we say. And I think it's important to remember that everyone takes in data and we produce something, and sometimes what we take in becomes our reality, becomes our world, right? Me and you do WTP. There's all kind of a world that's been created almost. Like it's weird in that we live in this reality, but it's there's this world out there. There's my cousin's world, there's your cousin's world, there's your uncle, there's all these worlds out there. There's worlds in different countries, and it's weird how we formulate based off American news typically what that world is, and so they split them into two big ones. But it's
and not to mention our education, what we're taught is all part of that, man.
And we dived in with that with Dr. Odin. I think I released that clip this past week. But
textbooks, man.
Textbooks are huge. Who writes history? Since the dawn of time, history has been rewritten. Since the dawn of time, there's been slavery. I mean, you're hearing arguments about Africans being in America before the white people came over here, and it's hard to know what's real, what's factual. Up is down, down is up. But I think we could all agree that there's a lot of shit no one knows what the fuck's going on.
Oh, fuck yeah.
You heard about the new ocean?
New ocean?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
So we thought it was just a melting core. Apparently,
in the center of the earth.
Reports, not completely the center, but it's so many distance below our oceans.
Yeah, I did hear about that.
And it's supposed to be bigger, like way bigger than the oceans we have.
I want to go.
Yeah, not me, bro. Imagine what sharks are down there. I don't know, squids and shit.
That's probably some crazy ass shit.
Fuck that. I'd rather go to space and get killed by some alien than
oh my goodness,
piece of shit water creature.
You know, going back to different stories and things. I don't know how I feel about these kind of movies, but they're kind of cool. Is like, you ever watch like 200 Cigarettes? You know, the type of movies where it's
documentary?
No. They're regular movies, but it's like it shows one person and their life, and then they meet someone at a store, and then the movie goes into that person's life, and then it shows how all these people connect, but they all have their own individual lives. You know, pretty cool movies. I like those. 200
Cigarettes? Is that what you
said?
I
think it's called 200
What's
Cigarettes.
That?
Yeah, it's one of those movies. Well, it's a bunch of young people. I don't know why they call it 200 Cigarettes. But it's basically a bunch of young people that interact, and then they meet each other a certain way. Exactly what I'm saying. You know, they have their own lives, and you see like their perspective and their life, and kind of living in their own bubble, and then they all kind of meet at a certain time, and it's interesting.
Yeah, that got really popular like in the early 2000s, right?
Yeah, that's when it was.
There was also, I want to say, God, it's been so long, but Babel, I think, was a similar one. Brad Pitt was in it.
I don't think I've seen that one.
It was just like 5 different movies put in one, and they and then at the end they have this overlap. Which
Exactly.
But not so much like that type. But I watched the second time I watched it, came out a few years ago. I had me and Gina can never agree on movies, and I get it because I want to watch fucking alien stuff on YouTube or fucking Epstein stuff on the Rising, The Hill. Fucking love that news station, and you know, and just dive deep into short clips, and we're talking about the negativity of all the input, and so when I try to slow it down, it's usually let's get long 3-hour podcasts, 2-hour movies, fuck these short little TV shows and clips and whatever. But so I was trying to think, what movie could watch? Like, oh, I got one for you. I've been meaning to rewatch it. It's called Fences. With Denzel Washington, and Denzel Washington directed it. Okay. And it was a play. And when I watched it, I go, this feels like a play because it's a lot of dialogue. And there's probably maybe it's basically in a house, a backyard inside the house, and sometimes the front stoop. And then sometimes I think one scene at his work or 2 scenes. Okay. You know, and it's a fucking great movie. If you like dialogue rich movies, if you like fucking tough scenes, one of these scenes in here, it's his son. He's a hard ass. He's a dad. It's like the early it's after World War II. So right after World War II, a black family and a black neighborhood. And he's a garbage man. And he was this badass baseball player that is blaming that he didn't make it because they didn't allow black athletes back then. Okay. And his sons want to become athletes. And after World War II, they start opening up to letting black people come in. And you know, it's a slow start. But he's an alcoholic. He's kind of got this chip on his shoulder. His son's trying to like go that route. And he's like, get a fucking job. You got to survive. Okay. They don't want you. And it just, he's this angry man, and he grew up rough. And he's hard on his fucking son. It's almost hard to watch. Oh, wow. But there's a scene, I'm getting chills thinking about it. There's a scene where he's fucking fuck football practice. You're here on Saturdays fucking building this fence with me. That's kind of what a fence is and what a fence represents. Keeping people out or keeping people in. Okay. Or both. And so, anyways, there's a scene where the son he gets yelled at, and he's like, go in and find me the saw. Well, where's the saw at? I said, go in, look for it. You know, that kind of guy. Right. And he turns out and he goes, why don't you like me? He says, come here when you talk to me. You know, fucking Denzel. Yeah. And, you know, Denzel gained some weight.
He's fucking awesome, dude.
One of the best actors out there. And I forget the actress's name. His wife, fucking brilliant actress as well. Forgive me, I forget her name. But anyways, he says, why do you have to like me? He says, who the fuck says I have to like you? You got a roof over your head? You got food in your stomach? You got clothes on your back? So what do you think that means? He goes, that you like me? No. And he says the N-word, no. And then he goes, shit, you dumbass. There's no law that says I have to like you. You have a responsibility. I have to take care of it. It's just this amazing scene. And for me, I told you, this is like up there with some of the Goodfellas scenes. Right. It's one of the best acting. One of Denzel's performance.
He does sells it, I'm sure.
Fuck, watch that movie Fences. It's fucking great. And it didn't get a lot of play. Huh. I don't know why. You didn't hear about it a lot. Maybe I just had the loop.
Maybe it is that dialogue thing that you're talking about.
Yeah, but like Quentin Tarantino has a lot of that. I think that's what he's known for, these awesome conversations, random conversations. But I love that shit.
Yeah, I have to check it out, man.
The good, the bad, the ugly, although Clint Eastwood doesn't talk a lot. There's these weird scenes of just, we want so much action now. Right. Explosions and The Rock and
well, I do. And it sounds like you do too. But I did spend the last 3 days watching fucking Lifetime movies. Oh, you ever watch those? Oh, my God. Fucking terrible, dude.
The worst acting in the world.
Oh, and not only that, it's like, it seems like they have the same fucking script. They just change names.
Yeah, we just joked about this. Me and Gino were like, I was like, we're at Home Depot. I might have been telling you, or was it Gino? I don't know. One of my wives. No, I'm kidding. But I'm the wife. But it's like I was like, oh, that chick over there, I forget how it came up, but like she looks like a Lifetime movie, and oh, there's the guy. He's the guy that's going to go work on her house, the good-looking
right.
guy. But then he's going to turn out to be evil and a little creepy and like spying on her. And then she's going to get a bad vibe from him. And this new guy's going to come in and save the day. And then they're going to hook up and be happily ever after. And they have the same fucking house, the same fake tears. Oh, dude.
Stockings hanging on the chimney.
There's always a lot of blue, like faded down blue. Like I don't know.
Oh my goodness,
like
dude.
It's the worst. I lived with my mom 4 months before I moved to Sacramento, between San Francisco and Sacramento. And she had that shit on every night, and I couldn't stop laughing. She'd get so mad at me. I'd get like high and just laugh like this. How do you not comment on this horrible acting?
Oh, dude, I was doing that the whole time because my wife doesn't like action movies, but she loves these kind of movies. I mean, she doesn't die for them, but they're there and she likes watching them. And it's like, fuck, dude, I swear to God, we watched like 3 movies and it was all like, okay, this lady has a boyfriend and he's kind of a dick, but then this ex-boyfriend from way back in the day comes out of nowhere, and next thing they reunite. She leaves this guy. It's like, what the fuck? That was all 3 of those movies had the same fucking script.
And they probably sprinkled murder in here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. A little bit of drama. Oh my goodness.
There's some kids around.
Fucked up, man.
Yeah, it is the same script. And then you'll be like, oh, I remember that actor. I wonder what happened to him. Oh yeah, he does suck.
Exactly.
Like the worst actor for like Hollywood movies is the best actor for Lifetime.
Oh, dude, right. Oh, totally.
Yeah.
And there was a couple of those for sure.
So,
oh man,
fucking Lifetime. Well, other news is I'm pretty ignorant on it. Haven't been doing a lot because I've been taking a break this week, but they took down a statue in London or Britain, somewhere over there, and they put up a protester,
right?
a black, some famous. I'm guessing she's a famous. I
didn't read into it.
I don't know who she was. I said the name, but they said the name like she's known, so I don't know if she's a huge activist or protester or what. And they had her up. They put a statue up her. I guess just the people put it up, or the people protesting put it up, and. I without knowing too much, I was like, well, I wonder why they chose her. But it sounded like she was a well-known person. I don't know, London and shit. But there's enough going on here. But they threw the other statue in the harbor, and they put her up. And I kind of smirked a little bit. And I said, ugh. And she was like, well, like, they're going to take that shit down. They're going to do the exact same thing.
Yeah, possibly.
It doesn't matter who's right or wrong. If one person can do it, the other person can do it. And so I thought like the right wing, really God Save the Queen type people are going to come out and tear that shit down. And the government, I guess it looked like a construction crew came in. So obviously probably government took it down. Yeah. And then
they took it down.
Yeah, it's already down.
Oh shit.
Yeah, but there wasn't like a crowd of people like I thought it was going to, but they just had a crane. So I was like, I think in the government, I think released a statement, and then, they pulled the statue out of the harbor, and they're restoring it because it's graffitied and they're restoring it and putting it in a museum, which I think is correct. Right. But I thought they're gonna put it back up. Like, oh shit! But they didn't. But it's I don't know. It's weird.
What the fuck? Why would they waste all that fucking time?
But yeah, and if they, I was like, I know a common ground. Maybe take that statue and put it in the museum too. For like 2020 shit,
yeah, right.
But yeah, weird. I was wondering if you knew anything about it or something.
No, I didn't know anything about it. But I would say, why the fuck do we have any statues? Why do we got to praise anybody, man? I mean, praise anybody in here. If you have someone that's influential in your life, read about it. There's books. The books will last forever. Why do we need statues?
Don't touch Rocky Balboa in Philadelphia. Isn't that crazy? We were talking. I was talking like how I want to. I want to dive into comics and and you're like, I like comics. Like I know, but that's like me saying I like basketball, right? Yeah, like, there's levels to this shit.
Oh yeah, I don't know shit about
dive, but there's a famous. I think I played it for you when we first started hanging out up here when my computer was over there. About Bill Burr went to Philadelphia. There's this outdoor arena in Philly. Like sports fans are known to be crazy, right?
Right.
They're known in comedy to be goddamn assholes, like just rough motherfuckers, drunk, yell, and like want to fight. And so. Dom Irera came on, who's a legend in comedy. Do you know who he is? Italian guy, legend, older guy, and he got booed, just by this rough crowd. And it was like a stage in an amphitheater. I don't know why they set it up that way, but whatever. It was back in the 90s, I think, or late 90s, early 2000s. And Bill Burr went on after him. And Bill Burr's a motherfucker. Like, he's going to tell you what he thinks. He's a grumpy guy. I love Bill Burr. Last of the real men from the 70s, I think. But he comes out. Now, he loves Dom Irera. He knows he's a great comic, and he saw him not even get a chance to get booed. So he went out there and let them have it.
Oh, shit.
He said, fuck you, mother. I don't know. You got to watch it. Look at Bill Burr, Philadelphia. It's blurry and hard, but it's worth it for the comedy. But he says, I'm throwing my set out here. How many minutes got? 14? Well, y'all going to hear me talk shit about Philadelphia. You booed down my road. And he goes off and he goes, fuck you, you stupid fat heart attack. Can't wait till y'all have a heart attack and your pizza, and you dumb motherfuckers and you racist cunts. And just went off on him. And he goes, you guys are so fucking racist. I forget. I think it was I don't know. I'm just going to say a boxer name. He's like, you guys are so fucking racist. You have Joe Frazier from your town. You put up Rocky Balboa, a fictional white character from a boxing movie. So there is I think there is actually a Rocky Balboa in Philadelphia, right? Because he ran up the hill.
Yeah, right.
The steps. So I think there's actually a statue of him.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, dude, you got to watch that comedy, dude. It's fucking great.
Fucking Rocky is your hero. The whole pride of your city is built around a fucking guy who doesn't even exist. You got fucking Joe Frazier is from there, but he's black, so you can't fucking deal with him. So you make a fucking statue for some 3-foot fucking Italian, you stupid Philly cheese eating fucking jackasses.
And another one you got to watch, which I might have played for you too.
But great point though.
Yeah, very good point. But it's like, why do you have a it's weird. I get it because that movie is so huge, but at the same time, it's like, well, where's that guy's statue? But yeah, I don't know the point of statues. I think I've said this either on this podcast or in conversation. Like, people are like, how would you feel if they take down this statue? I'm like, yeah, I don't give a shit. Yeah, right. How do you feel about they take down this statue? I don't know. I don't give a shit. Yeah. Oh, another kind of on the same thing. Do you know about the, who is it? Famous Native American chief, Crazy Horse.
Crazy Horse?
Yeah, they're building
that monument.
They've been building it.
Yeah, they've been building it.
It's one of the longest projects ever.
Yeah, right.
And it's going to be the biggest thing ever. Mm-hmm. But we're not going to see it in our lifetime.
Probably not finished, no. But I've seen pictures. Actually, I passed by it when I went to Mount Rushmore. Yeah. Fucking badass.
What state is it in?
South Dakota.
And Mount Rushmore's North Dakota?
No, they're both in South Dakota.
They're both South Dakota. Mm-hmm. Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
Now, the head alone, from what I looked into, is the size of Mount Rushmore combined.
Oh, damn. Yeah, it's fucking huge.
So you saw this. It's fucking massive?
Yeah, it's fucking massive.
And it's just construct, because they're going to have I seen the model they're doing, but apparently like a guy that started it died in the 70s or 80s. I'm like, damn, the guy who started died in the 70s or 80s. So it's been going on forever.
Yeah, right.
And it came from a chief that made a deal with someone like, hey, we want to be represented like all these guys are represented. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the argument here, right? Is that's probably why they put a BLM protester up, because it is like, hey, why are you guys only represented in statues, you know?
I get that.
But I don't know. I think it's cool. I think statues are cool, but yeah, it's like Dr. Odin said, like, Columbus your guy? You want that guy? You know, and yeah, fuck Columbus. Who gives a shit? Like, mm-hmm. I don't know. Like, we thought he was the guy that discovered the new world, and that's how he's put in for 100 years. And obviously that is a lot not true. Never. And then there's this famous, I forget what it's called. I don't know if you've seen that. Somewhere around there probably, or it's probably south, but it's General Lee and all the generals from the Southern Confederate armies.
Oh, on that mountain.
I forget what it's called. It's like famous, and like they're trying to take that down. And
how would you take that down?
Yeah, I don't know how the fuck do they make that shit back then? They just people were craftsmen. We suck. Yeah. We make cheap crap. But like, they were craftsmen, dude. If we would have bought this, it would have been made out of metal and last 100 years.
Fuck yeah.
This Roadcaster, and we love it. But you know, you see like the details in the old, like San Francisco and the Netherlands, these old Victorian buildings and these old architecture, and like the detail and even the paints, and everything's too expensive, so we need cheap drywall and fucking whatever's the cheapest and increase the profits. And I think it's hard to run a construction business without, you're not going to survive if you don't do that.
Right.
Unfortunately, you work construction, right? Mm-hmm. So it's kind of, things are just.
But I do love architecture, man. When I go into a building and it has that, oh my God, I fucking drool over that shit. Like, just like exactly the craftsmanship, you can picture somebody there spending months on that one little fucking piece of architecture. It's like, God damn, that's amazing.
Well, it's kind of like old cars, right? Like, old cars. And I think that, you know, whether it doesn't feel the same, but it is the same, like Teslas. He puts so much thought in every detail.
Yeah, right.
Maybe not the Cybertruck, although I want one. But, you know, like, I'm sure he did. But, you know, like, it's like, wow, he thought about every detail.
Mm-hmm. But, I mean, I would say the manufacturing of it is still cheap as fuck. You know, when because I detail Teslas all the time, and I've seen, and I see some that, like, you know, because when I first started detailing, because my wife wants a Tesla, and I want a Tesla too. I think they're badass vehicles. Yeah. When I first started getting into detailing, it was like, oh, Model X, you know, Model S, oh, these are fucking awesome cars. You know, doors open, big screen, all this shit. And then now, you know, 3 years into it, and I'm still detailing, and actually some of them are their exact same cars. They're clients that are just returning clients. And you start seeing rubber shit falling off, and like, you know, where the doors open, you know, because they have those. I forgot what they're called, the doors that open like that.
Lamborghini doors.
Yeah, they're like those doors, and but Tesla calls it something else.
Oh, they might call it like the Back to the Future doors or something like that. What's that car called?
Oh, the
DeLorean?
DeLorean, right. No, I forgot what they call it. But anyway, so like inside there, you know, there's always shit in there, and it gets moldy and fucking nasty, and it's like it's still manufactured the way other cars are manufactured.
Oh, really?
You know?
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, they're nicer cars. They can last longer. They, you know, all this good shit, but it's still made the same.
Yeah. I mean, even like so I didn't know that's interesting, but I'm thinking more like putting a fucking screen in the middle instead of all these knobs and making the engine electric. And it to go fast and be silent. And it's just like, you know, a lot of companies, we know, like watch Who Killed the Electric Car 1 and Who Killed the Electric Car 2 when Tesla was starting out. Fucking those companies, Chevy, all them, they only did it to answer. They knew they could have done it a long time. I don't know if you know about alcohol cars that were competing with gasoline cars and the dawn of cars.
Not specifically, but I know that there was even electric cars, and then there's even guys who created a carburetor, you know, because cars use carburetors for the longest time.
Yeah.
That would fucking go fucking hundreds of miles on one tank of gas. And then, of course, car manufacturing companies buy this fucker out.
What's it called when they do that? Like fluorescent light bulbs back in the early 1900s lasted years and years and years, and they had to manufacture it to last shorter periods to sell more, to survive the business, I guess, because even back then they're like, well, fuck, we're going out of business because no one needs them. But there's a business term for that. It's you create a death date for your product, so they have to buy more. But yeah, it's fucking insane that like all this shit. Like, I mean, light bulbs should last forever.
Oh yeah,
those 2-year light bulbs that came out when we were kids. Remember 2-year light bulbs? Oh shit,
right.
Those were out in the early 1900s. Apparently.
Well, dude, even like old washer machines. You know, like we have a newer washing machine, but in my older houses, like, I've been in way too many houses in my lifetime. But dude, I've had an old washing machine, probably from like the 60s, that fucking runs great. Yeah. You fucking throw your clothes in there, fucking runs great. It'll never break down. And you see that shit all the time on Craigslist too. Oh, free old washing machine still works. And now, you know, I've had my washing machine 2 years, going on 3 years, and it's already showing signs of like giving up. It's like, God damn. Shit.
I don't know. We have an old ass dryer that fucking our clothes somehow gets like tangled, like all our underwear, because it's like the smaller fabrics get stuck in between the rigids, and then all the rust and everything. So all our shit looks like it has skid marks like on the side and shit. And
no excuses.
I used to give Gina shit like, skid marks. Dude, what the fuck? It's like, it's the dryer. I'm like, sure. And then I started noticing all my shit, the sheets, the pillow. I'm like, motherfucker. It's like we're ruining all our clothes, but yeah, it's pretty old. So I don't know, but things need repair. But yeah, just, you know, craftsmanship isn't what it used to. Even the middles we use and stuff. And fuck, Nick, you travel, you're gonna fucking love that, because that's one of the coolest parts. Is even the roads, the cobblestone roads, and just how they built shit. And fuck, even like
built to fucking last, man.
Asian architecture, yeah, shit's crazy. I mean, shit, you in the Netherlands, you'll see like castles and shit with like wires around it and shit. And it's because it's so old that shit will fall off. And actually, when I was in Amsterdam one weekend, when I lived there, they had police tape everywhere, and this big fucking chunk of this beautiful design thing fell off and like left a huge indentation in this cobblestone road. And I was like, that would kill. And apparently people die from this. So then I was like, fuck, build new shit. Fuck this. Fuck, I didn't think about that. Yeah.
Oh, that's fucked up, man. Interesting.
It's gonna happen, you know.
Well, and you know what? Repairmen. You know, I mean, you used to be able to fucking take your washing machine down to a repairman, or a repairman would come to your house. And I think it's my brother-in-law, I think, had a problem with this dryer. And he's like, well, shit, I want to get it repaired. Watch some YouTube videos. And it was like, okay, I found out the part that's wrong. It's like the part's like $150. It's like, fuck, I paid $200 for the fucking dryer. Like, how, you know, goddamn.
And sometimes people can't repair shit, which is weird. Like,
yeah, right.
Like, I think, Jocko Wilkins talking about bringing boot making back into American manufacturing. They had to bring these old retired guys to teach these young kids. And they said, fuck, if they would have died off, I don't know who I would have hit up.
Right.
We'd have had to relearn it. And it also makes me wonder, like, with the pyramids and all the conspiracy. Like, you know, it's, did we forget? Because I realized seeing that, like, oh, that wasn't that long ago. But yeah, I could see how my grandkid wouldn't know how to, no one would know how to build boots, maybe, unless we have it documented on the internet. But what happens when the internet goes out or cleans or someone owns it? And it's like, fuck, maybe that's what happened with how the pyramids could build this. How the, you know, like maybe those questions just dissolve over time or be created over time, and the answers dissolve, I guess I should say. Ugh.
Interesting.
Deep.
Yeah, that is deep. And it just kind of so deep that you see the knowledge disappearing. And languages, you know, in culture, we study that in anthropology all the time. Languages are fucking dying out every day, man. Yeah. And when language dies out, culture dies out. Yeah. And it's a fucked up scene.
Man, yeah. I'm blinking. I was thinking of that language.
But we can't end on a fucked up scene, Jay. So, you know, getting into traveling again, and we got to get out, Jay. We got to get the fuck out of here, man.
Dude,
I've been staying way too fucking long in my house.
Yeah, I get out once or twice a year. I've traveled for years, typically Central America, just different countries in Central America, because I just love that area, and it's cheap. If you plan ahead, it's pretty cheap. You could get a flight for $400 or $500 for 6 months out, and then spend $10. I stay in a tree house,
Right.
but $10 a night. But and there might be some cockroaches.
Sounds exotic.
But it's killing me, man. And trying to go to Greece, and then that got canceled, and I had a vacation get canceled before that. Trying to go out on the sailboat, my father, and it broke down, and the shit happened, and the fucking politics ramping up, and the conversations. I know we have these conversations here, but just. I'm ready to leave, man. We're ready to get the fuck out of here.
Well, you know what, man? I was talking to my wife about this, and we're very soon here, maybe even today, we're gonna take a drive out either to Watsonville, go out maybe Santa Cruz, go out there to the beach, and there's a campsite in Watsonville that I had an archaeology dig out there one time, and we camped out at this campsite, and it's Sunset Beach. And it's fucking amazing, man. You camp out, it's wilderness. It's a little 2-minute walk to the beach. It's fucking amazing. And it's one of the only beaches that reopened for camping recently. And so I was like, fuck yeah, I need to get on there. And look on, it's like fucking reserved till like September. It's like, god damn, man. Fuck, I bet you as soon as they opened up, reservations were fucking booked.
Yeah, last night me and Jen were like, let's go out and have some fun. Let's bring our mask and just see what we could do. And we had a great night, and but we stopped at Gunther's to get some ice cream spot here in Sacramento. And there's like a brewery or something across the street, a restaurant or something, and they like put a big tarp open, had all this outdoor area, that had a DJ.
Okay.
It was fucking like, we were just sat there staring at people like, oh man. At first I was like, we're probably getting COVID right now. But at the same time, like, people were trying to keep their distance, but you could do the best you can. But it was like, oh shit, like, I missed this. Like, in San Francisco, we used to go out all the fucking time, and fucking it was a blast,
right.
Go to different restaurants, try different foods, go out, get drunk, try different cocktails, and it we move here, and then COVID shuts things down, but it was fun to go out and just be like, oh yeah, this is how it's supposed to be. You can see people fucking loving it, dancing at their tables, getting down, like older, younger people. People were being friendly as fuck.
You were drooling, huh?
People, yeah, like, I like people watching, and I was just sitting there, and I didn't want to like be a part of it. I just wanted to watch. I feel like it was entertainment almost, but fuck, it was a great time. And man, I can't wait till shit gets back to normal. Fuck the new normal. Let's get back to normal.
Right. And you know what? It's funny that we even look forward to a fucking drive now, because that's what we were thinking. Well, if we can't camp somewhere, let's fucking go for a drive. Fuck it. We look forward to that shit now. Yeah.
I think me and Gina are going to go probably the Valley this weekend, shit, after we wrap up this. And, I don't know why we're going to the Valley. It's just like, let's fucking go somewhere. I got to get the fuck out of Sacramento. Like, I got to get out of here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Even I was telling my wife, even if we fucking don't get out of the car, we get out of the car to eat, of course, but fuck, just go get the fuck out, out of the house. I think the kids went over a friend's house and went swimming the other day, and but it's not the same. You got to do something as a family, get the fuck out, spend some time. And
yeah, I never wanted to live out in the country so bad, just like where you could walk in the woods or something, like, or go by a lake or river. Like, it's like, man, those people got it right now. But it's slowly opening up. It seems like we might be closing down again, but I think the people are kind of doing what they got to do to survive, and it seems a lot of people are just moving the restaurants outside, it looks like.
Yeah, right. Which it's probably major, because they talk a lot about indoors and how that's, plays into that and this and that. And you know what, the first round of COVID, again, I think you and I both had our reservations about it. Like, well, fuck, is it dangerous? Is it not? Whatever. But now, I have a close relative that her whole family has COVID right now. And it's like, god damn, like, damn, that really hits home, It's like, oh shit, man. Like, and I'm not completely scared of getting COVID. I'd rather not, I'd rather not fucking be hella sick and have to stay in my bed for fucking several days, especially when I have to work. So just, taking proper precautions, I think, wearing the mask and that kind of shit, as sucky as it seems, like, I'm still going to do it,
Yeah, I just left my job, my insurance, so I'm having to buy insurance now because I'm like, shit, if I get COVID, I don't want to get a huge bill.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the circle is getting smaller of people you don't know with COVID.
Yeah, right.
I've always said at the beginning, I don't know anyone. I know friends of a friends of a friend, and now I've been hit up in the last month by like 3 or 4 people that I know and trust. And
right.
They said they have it. One person's mother went into the hospital. She got released, thank God. He got it. I said, man, is it as crazy as they say it is? And he says, seems like it's affecting people differently, but you say, you know, it's not, but it's just different, so it freaks you out. Like when you lose your taste, you go, what the fuck?
Oh, yeah, right.
And apparently, whatever that shit Trump was taking,
Chlorine.
chlorine. I think the news ran with chlorine for a while. Then they ran with like Clorox ads and shit. But
that was another thing. But yeah.
Oh, okay. But he was injecting himself with some stupid shit. But apparently, like, so I like X that off, you know, as like laughable, and then because I didn't want to take my medical advice from President Donald Trump. But podcaster I trust and follow, they got it from going out to Texas and doing shows because they're like, fuck, if we get it. And now they're like, well, I feel bad because I didn't realize I was putting my kids at risk, my family, strangers. And so, but they said the doctor, he went in, Brendan Schaub from Fighter and the Kid and also Below the Belt and also King of the Sting. He has 3 podcasts going with different people. It's awesome. But he was like, the doctor, and I'm sure he has a great doctor because he's rich. And he's like, so, are you political? And he's like, what? He's like, are you right or left? He's like, what the fuck are you asking me this right now? I got fucking COVID. What the fuck is going on here? And he's like, well, I'm going to offer you something, but it's been each doctor does their own thing, but for me, it's been working. And it's a combination of things with zinc and other stuff.
Right.
Whatever it's called.
What is it called? We'll
chloroclepine or something.
Yeah, something like that.
But so he's like, fuck, I don't give a fuck if he's like, Donald Trump takes a lot of people are against it because he took it, but apparently it's got some good results.
Like, tie me up right now,
fucking
motherfucker.
Bring that. And he took it, and he said within 3 days he's feeling great. He still got in watching himself, but he still felt great. The other guy, his partner, who got COVID, who's older than him, who's healthy though, doesn't take shit because he's more, I think, anti-Trump, and I think he's just that way with medicine in general. But he's sicker than a dog. I'm like, fucking take the shit, man. But maybe there's a side effect I don't know about. But zinc helps bring that taste back. High doses of zinc apparently, but that could really fuck up your stomach, so be careful. But and a few other things I can't think of. But I'm like, well, shit, that's the best I've heard so far. I'm fucking keeping that shit on my radar. And it's like, well, shit, what if I go to UCSF? That's a left-leaning hospital. Fuck, are they gonna offer it?
They're not gonna offer you that shit.
I'm like, I just want what works,
right?
Or I just want to know my options and the pros and cons of the options, and I want to make that decision.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. Well, that's how it should be. And I think, you know, I mean, from the very beginning, it's fucking taking care of yourself, man. You know, being healthy, eating right, exercising, not being a fucking fat slop, and you know, and that goes a long way, man.
That goes a long way, yeah. Dan, there's been multiple points during COVID. I'm like, no drinking alcohol, no weed because the lungs, and I'm fucking working out every day. And like 2 weeks later, I'm like, fuck COVID, it's fake.
Pass that
hamburger. I like, you know, you justify your hamburger any way you can.
Right.
I support Trump. I want this hamburger. And then you like the next day, I support the left. I want to like get running. And
like, back to Kel.
Whatever your mind wants to do. But being healthy helps. Hell, shit, I thought I'd be a lot healthier. This is probably the most unhealthiest I've been in a year. You know?
But I don't know. Hey, you know what? We might as well shout out Mike Milan. Came out, my cousin came out a few weeks ago, or a couple weeks ago, right?
Yeah, like 2 weekends ago. Yeah, came out, kicked our ass on the bike. He had a nice bike though, but he kicked our ass.
Yeah, he had a bad. Yeah, he kicked our ass.
Yeah,
but it was fucking awesome. We rode about 8 miles, probably total. I think it was about 4 miles out, or was it 16? Was it 8 miles out and 8 miles back?
I think it was 4.5, but I'm not sure.
Okay, probably about 10 miles total. But we
let's
started.
Just say 16.
Yeah, let's go with that. But it was a fucking awesome bike ride. It ended near the Folsom Lake, you know, nice little river spot. We jumped in, swam across the fucking river. Mike almost died.
Mike almost drowned.
Yeah, that was
a little scary.
That was intense. It was almost probably a little less than a quarter-mile swim across and then the same back.
And he made it back, but I think, they got I was watching because you two went. I was like, I'll watch the backpacks on the rock. And then you could see me and other people around us like
are those fuckers all right?
You could just tell he was getting exhausted though. Right. I don't know if he was stopping, but there's some vibe that went across. It was like, I'm looking like, does anyone have a boat around? Fuck, they're not going to hear me if I yell. I'm like, fuck. But he made it. I think he just burnt himself out.
Yeah, I think
he was riding the bike hard.
Oh, he was pushing himself.
He ditched us, sure. So he's, I think he probably just, his muscles were tired. But yeah, fun exercise, fun trip. And we talked about doing it again, and we haven't.
No,
I want to do that swim again, man. I love swimming.
Hell yeah, fun. Man. That was a good time. But, you know, I mentioned that only because it's like, we did it. We went out, you know, and I think, you know, Mike definitely lit the fire in our ass. He brought his own bike on his truck, you know, and you know, Jay, you need to get a bike so, you know, we can do that more often.
Yeah, I'm looking at motorcycles, yeah.
Or a motorized bike.
I want to Triumph bobber. Oh, they're sexy. But
Oh, nice.
Trying to kill myself. But yeah, it's I need a bike. I need a lot of things. I need to stop spending money too. But yeah, Mike came. It was fucking awesome time, man. And
it was.
Got burnt by the sun. It was great to be outside in nature for a long period of time.
Right.
Great to jump in that water. Oh, fucking great. Just to see people out and about. We kept our distance from everyone, but as best we could. But it was just fucking fun, man.
It was. So get out there. Fucking spend some time outdoors. Go for a bike ride, a hike, a walk, swim, whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
Have some fun, man. Fuck it. Let's have as much fun as we can. And hopefully normalcy is just around the corner.
All right, everybody, we'll wrap that up. And please subscribe. And we'll check out those links we have below, the Epstein Black Book and also the list of companies that got the loans. And anyways, thank you again for watching, and leave some comments, give us some suggestions, and we love you, Water Tower Podcast Tribe or Posse or whatever you
Posse. Let's go with Posse.
Let's go
yeah,
Posse,
I love that.
Or Posse.
And I would also say, you mentioned leave us comments, but let us know what you want to hear about. Let us know what's interesting to you, and delving into that black book. Is that going to be something you want to hear? Let us know. We want to give you content that you want to hear.
You sick of hearing about COVID? You want to hear more dick jokes? I told Nick I think we should have more dick jokes.
Absolutely.
I'm a big advocate of dick jokes.
Big ones especially.
Yeah. But yeah, anyways, thank you guys so much, and we're out.
Peace.